A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're joining us from all over the world. It's the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on SimShed Broadcasting for Monday Night Motorsport. It's the doubleheader. We're in Brands Hatch tonight. We're in England, the United Kingdom. We're ready to rock and roll at one of the iconic British circuits in world motorsport, of course. The Intro to Wings series on the Indy configuration, and of course the GT series coming up on the longer Grand Prix configuration. Zach Capen flying solo with you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hope the vocal cords last the next 2.5 hours. Paul Nichols away with a little bit of a head cold. He assures us it's not COVID, so good evening to Nico, and hopefully he enjoys the broadcast resting up there at home. He needs to be on deck for Friday night, of course, as I'm out at the Ipswich Kart Club this weekend. Of course, Nick's being tied up with some other commitments as well, but we will hopefully get the chance to talk to a lot of drivers throughout the course of this broadcast, both at the end of the Intro to Wings race and also the end of the GT race as well. Now, one of the great things about running the Intro to Wings series, all these guys have gone and coloured their cars with Formula One liveries of yesteryear, and you've just seen one on screen there. A lot to be excited about tonight. This championship got underway last week. Emphatic victory for Mikey Hammond at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya tonight. We'll see if he can tame the field again at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Now, interesting to note that our hop, skip and jump around the countries of the world and around the continents continues, because we went Europe, Asia, America last week, and we're doing the same again this week. Wednesday night, we're with you, of course, from the Okayama International Circuit for Hump Day Pilot Series TCR GT4 action, and also the Porsche GT3 Series. And then, of course, on Friday night, the magnificent Road America course plays host to the triple header: production cars, stock cars, and supercars. Now, I don't yet know what the car of choice is for the production car outing, but hopefully we'll be able to affirm that information, or confirm that information, I should say, for you before the end of this broadcast. Looking forward to this race, however. It's a 1.93 kilometre circuit, Brands Hatch. What you're watching here, folks, is sole qualifying. 10 minutes, one lap, track to yourself, and the server would have been set up that way. Well, one lap's interesting because it means if you fluff it, you're gone. You're going to be starting down the rear. But the fact of the matter is there's a field of 25, I think it is, in here tonight. So therefore, getting out on the circuit and finding some clean real estate isn't exactly an easy thing to do if it was an all-in session, it'd be a little bit congested traffic-wise. However, as I'm saying, because they've managed to make it a sole qualifying, it's now up to the driver to make the most of the clean real estate they have. This circuit, you saw it in the graphic at the top of the broadcast, 1.93 kilometres, 6 turns. And, of course, it's the Pro Mazda we're using tonight. No fuel tank capacity limits being shown to me here on the information I'm getting out of the iRacing server. But it's a constant dynamic sky, dry day. Have a look at this. Clear, 24 degrees. Track, 44 degrees. There's a big talking point for you. And the date has been reverted back to the 15th of May, just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So conditions set fair for what should be an awesome race. This is the 10-lap sole qualifying, and then it'll be an all-in race for 20 minutes, which around here should be somewhere in the vicinity of 25, 26 laps, given that it's 43 seconds around. Now, so far in this qualifying session, Liam Reston, who you are watching on the screen here, 43.802 seconds, is about 600ths of a second clear of Adam Coughlin, Warwick Sharp, Brad Clank, Chris Stark, Joe Baldwin, then Jared Smith, Jared Daly, Wayne Visser, and Brad Stoyescu, making up the top 10 at the moment. Peter Matson's also out on circuit, but we're staying with Reston. Michael Hammer Hammer Time Hammond. He has not recorded a solid lap yet. 47.6 was his fastest time. So he'll be burning from the stern, essentially. Adam St. John, Nash Phillip, Brett Selbywood, Jamie Welch, Josh Thomas and Luke Keamy all running out of time to record a lap, although there is only 5 minutes left in the session. So we're looking forward to this race. As I say, 20 minutes. Brands Hatch Indy, busy circuit, a lot happening, high speed, couple of tight corners. Most notably, of course, turns 6 and 2 are trouble points around here. We'll wait and see how the field of 25 gets through the first couple of corners when we get this race underway. Championship standings coming into this round as we welcome those of you joining us through the Gentleman Sim Racing Club Incorporated broadcast page, including our great friends from Flash Graphics, who are looking forward to the race this evening. And of course, you see at the top of your screen there all the great people that support the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, of course. Central Coast Subaru, LJ Hooker Gander, Racecraft, Flash Graphics, Oculair, and also Simple Sim Computers. Huge thanks to those people for making what we do possible. And a warm welcome to those that are tuning in via the Facebook live stream this evening. And also Twitch and YouTube as well, through JP's SimShed Broadcasting, of course. And we thank JP for the great work he's doing in directing and producing the broadcast. You notice the new graphics package we've got going up here. And we're always making little improvements to it, so you'll notice that throughout the course of the season. Now let's update you on some championship standings, shall we? Only one round into the season, but already important to make note of it. Michael Hammond absolutely blitzed the field last week as we take the Oculair aerial shot for the first time this evening. Michael Hammond, 36 points, plays Warwick Sharp, 28, and Brett Selbywood, 26. Julian Muckey on 25 and Adam Coughlin on 22 make up the top 5. 21 for Sean Rees, 20 for both Ben Collard and Wayne Visser, 17 for Ash Phillip, 15 for Justin Schwercourt, making up the top 10 there after this opening round, of course, that was held at the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya last week. We have a lot to look forward to as far as this championship is concerned. In fact, let me tell you what's to come while we continue to watch qualifying play out here, and then we'll update you on some qualifying times as they continue to come on through here. No one on track at the moment recording a hot lap, so we'll keep you posted if anyone does make their way out onto the circuit. But for the moment, let's just run with some information here in the studio next week. So obviously we've been looking forward immensely to these opening 2 rounds in Europe. Next week we head to Asia. It's the Okayama International Circuit next Monday night, and that race will be coming your way from 7:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Remember that? So Queensland, you'll be seeing it an hour earlier next week from 6:30 at least. At least the good thing with national broadcasting via social media is that you don't get the 1 hour delay like you do with a lot of other television programs between October and April, but that's another gripe that I'll save for next week. So Okayama in the calendar twice, of course, because we're there on Wednesday night this week, which you'll see here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club broadcast page. And we're looking forward to your company from 7:30. We are live on Wednesday night this week after our night owl session last week, I'm pleased to say. So the end of this session, I'll tell you what, Liam Reston's not giving up here. He's quite happy just to keep fanging it, as they say. 43.802 was the qualifying time that he said he will start from pole position. In fact, all of our times have been locked and loaded. We are only 48 seconds away from the end of this qualifying session, and then we will go racing. Michael Hammond, it's important to note, did everything right last week. Reston a little bit wide there, just giving it a little bit too much throttle through turn 1. Michael Hammond got the clean sweep last night. Qualifying pole position, fastest lap in the race, victory, and the bonus points that go with a clean race as well. Extraordinary performance. So, of course, the Grand Prix circuit will play host to the GTs very shortly. We'll bring that to you at around 8:25 Eastern. In the meantime, onto the Brabham Straight comes Liam Reston at the end of this qualifying session. And now we get set for the race. So let's, at this point in time, run through the grid here, because it is locked and loaded, and the cars will line up on the grid now. There it is. Liam Reston from pole position. Adam Coughlin alongside him. Then Warwick Sharp, Brad Clank, Chris Stark. And Trucker Joe Baldwin from row number 3. Josh Thomas and also Jared Smith from row 4. Jared Daly and Wayne Visser from row 5. Brad Stoyescu and Declan Reinhardt from row 6. Down to row 7, Justin Swercourt. So he fell down in the latter stages there. Pete Matson alongside him, Julia Mucky and Stephen Robertson from row 8. Sean Rees and Josh Keane from row 9. Grant Gillen, Michael Hammond from row 10. That's going to be good to watch Mikey charging through. Don't worry about that. Then Jamie Welch, Brett Selbywood, Ash Phillip and Luke Keamy make up the 24. And we do have one more car to get through, and that's, of course, Adam St. John on the 13th row there in 25th position. Looking forward to this race, folks. 2 o'clock in the afternoon sim time, 2:20 in fact. Track, a very warm 43 degrees, but a clear sky in Great Britain, which is rare for them. And 24 degrees. That's a summer day for Great Britain. Don't worry about that. Just for the benefit of those of you watching at home, these cars are, of course, the Pro Mazdas. More familiar, of course, with North American Motorsport on the feeder card or the support card to the IndyCar series, of course. Now, in this race, unlimited tyre sets available, and the setup is identical to baseline. There's no fuel tank capacity here, so they'll do 20 laps without having to stop. Incident counts, we didn't mention that, 17x and then every 10x after that. So keep an eye out for that. We didn't see too much biff and barge last week. Pace car speed, if we need it, 97 kilometres an hour. Pit lane speed, 72 kilometres an hour. Red lights are on. Monday Night Motorsport is green. Oh, Reston went nowhere, and there's carnage on the grid. 3 cars involved. One on its lid. That was Warwick Sharp. We're going to get a replay of this right now. Liam Reston went nowhere, and there's more trouble at turn 2, actually. Wayne Visser's upside down. But we'll get back to that in a moment. The caution flag has been waved. Reston stalled and went nowhere. And it was basically dodging cars from that point forward. Warwick Sharp went in. Chris Stark went in. Josh Thomas went in. Those 3 cars immediately behind Liam Reston are all in trouble and the safety car deployed. Then watch this. Chris Stark went over the curb and the trouble happened ahead of him there. 2 cars, in fact 3 cars, 2 separate incidents at turn 2, or turn 1 I should say. What about that for a start? Wow. Carnage here in the opening stages of what was meant to be a 20-minute sprint, but the first few laps are going to be under the caution. Wow. Take a breath, everybody, and hold on. That got ugly very quickly. And Reston, the pole sitter, he'll be filthy. So, didn't think to mention, there's unlimited fast repairs. There's no limit on fast repairs here. So make sure, oh, hang on. Would you believe it? I just saw another car go off over at turn 2. If JP can have a look at that, under the safety car and reset again. So I don't know if that was Reston in trouble again. We'll find out for you. So he's gone from 0 to 0 like he would not believe. Here we go. Here's the onboard shot. Oh, he's got nothing. Look at the car. It's shot. Just fires him off the circuit straight to the wall. Forget about it. Put it in the bin. That's what the fast repair's there for, folks. So no surprise there. You might have just heard that come through. Not going green. So there will be another lap at least under the caution here, maybe two. Given that it is such a fast circuit, such a fast lap, that would not surprise me in the slightest. But in amongst all of that carnage and chaos, trucker Joe Baldwin leads this race. Brad Clank, second Adam Coughlin, then Jared Smith, Brad Stoyescu, Pete Matson, Stephen Robertson, Julian Mucky and Josh Keane, with Sean Rees making up the top 10. Michael Hammertime Hammond, 21st after starting 20th. So it hasn't been a great start for Mikey. And it was a bit hard to go anywhere in the first place with all that carnage happening around him on lap one. What a start here for Monday Night Motorsport on SimShed Broadcasting. You can't make that stuff up. You can't script it. Reston, I mean, let's just analyse that for a second. The start, always critical. We have seen standing starts end in disaster before. That was shambolic. And it all started because it's a tight, narrow front straight there at Brands Hatch at the best of times. But in saying all of that, when you're at the front of the field and there are another 12 cars lined up immediately behind you, and you haven't got much room to the right because you got the pit wall, and you haven't got much room to the left because you got cars flying past at, speed, it was never going to end well. And the first three went bang, bang, bang. A lot of clean races out the door on lap 0 because they didn't get to the control line. And it will go around behind the caution one more. Actually, no, we're going to go green this time, by green and racing. I didn't see the safety car pulling, neither did you. That's okay. To the first corner they go. Trucker Joe Baldwin's going to lead them through. He's sliding through turn 1 and on his way up to turn 2 for the first time at speed in this race. It was there on the opening lap, and we saw the caution flag waved. Lap 5, 4.5 minutes on the clock. You can see up on the top left of your screen there, folks. It is a timed race. So you've got not only the lap count, but also the clock ticking upwards to give you an indication of where we're going here. 20 minutes on the clock. We are a quarter of the way there. We're on board with Brad Clank, who sits second at the moment, riding the ripple strips through 1. Of course, that's Paddock Hill Bend on the way down to Druids. So we've had another incident as well, which we'll show you in just a moment, folks. Really enjoying our replays that are coming through live while we're on air here. Adam St. John this time round. And just getting a little bit wide there at turn 6. And once you clip the grass, you're a passenger. Off the circuit, loses a couple of spots, gets back going. Oh, trouble here as well. We've got Josh Thomas getting smashed into the sky. I'm just trying to pick up, I think that was at turn 6. It was a case of 3 into 1 was never going to go, especially when one was sitting in the middle of the track. Have a look at this. The trouble happened just ahead of him, and everyone checked up. And Thomas spun round on the grass just clipped the grass while trying to get around that carnage and got smashed into. Look at that crunch. I think everyone in this race tonight is going to be very grateful for the fact that it is sim racing. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of people in the outpatients at the hospital, I think. Oh, geez. It's rib-rattling stuff tonight. Trucker Joe Baldwin leading this race. Here's Grant Gill in 10th place at the moment. Just falling back there. Under pressure from, in 11th place, Jared Daly. But Gill's able to hold the spot for the moment. What a great start this has been, ladies and gentlemen. You come to us for action on a Monday night, and we've given it to you in spades, and we're only in race 1. There's another race still to come. Stick around, it's going to get very interesting. There's no doubt about that. So Grant Gill's moved up to 10th. Jared Daly down to 11th. Brett Selby Wood 12th, and then Jamie Welch. We're up now with Josh Keane, who's running in 14th position. Although I think you'll find that he's just slipped down the order there. In fact, he's risen up the order, I should say. He was showing as 14. He's now moved up to 9th with all of that kerfuffle happening around. So the running order, as you can see on the top left of your screen there, 7.5 minutes gone, 12.5 to go. Trucker Joe Baldwin leads the way. I want to keep an eye on Michael Hammond as well, folks, because he's buried in 14th and having trouble finding his way through. Overtaking not easy here, as has already been illustrated, of course. And there he is. Oh, more trouble. Oh, no, Gill's gone round, and Hammond's had to take evasive action there. There's trouble galore. I tell you what, I didn't see who went with Grant Gill, but Michael Hammond won't be a happy man because everywhere there's been an incident tonight, he's been compromised. The man that won last week, having a shocker in England tonight. Trucker Joe Baldwin sits there as the race leader and does so comfortably. But he can't get complacent because it's only 2 car lengths. An inch is as good as a mile in these races. But Brad Clank is going with him and trying to give him the hurry up. So at Heaven and just joining our Facebook live chat there to say work's got in the way of racing tonight. A few people will be feeling your pain. Don't worry about that, mate. Good to have your company. However, look forward to having you back on the grid next week. Isn't it a shame when work gets in the way of life? But money makes the world go round, as they say. There's Hammond going down on the inside. Job done. So in amongst all that carnage, Grant Gill, Ash Phillip, Declan Reinhardt, Josh Keane have all slipped behind Michael Hammond now. And I believe that was Jared Daly that he was getting by as well. So either that or Jared will be next one up the road. So very nicely done from Michael Hammond. Although off track there won't be too many people with a 0X next to the name after this race, I assure you. We are almost at the halfway mark. We're on lap 12. So despite the fact that as we ride here with Jared Smith, who's sitting there in 4th place, despite the fact that I said at the start of the call we'd get somewhere in the vicinity of 25, 26 laps, despite the caution, we're still on track for that number. So that's a good sign of things to come. Smith under pressure here. Brad Stoyescu giving him a hurry up. Trying to go with him. Pete Matson in there as well. Round they come onto the main straight. Another lap in the books. Clank 7 seconds up the road. Coughlin 3 seconds up the road. So we're watching Smith, Stoyescu and Matson and Mucky. These 4 fighting it out. If they were a little bit tighter, there'd be some argy-bargy. But they're just happy to keep their distance at the moment. Socially distanced racing, we'll call this. Have a look at it. And a little bit of a clip of the grass there on the exit for both the car in 4th, which is Smith, and Pete Matson in behind in 6th. And still that car sitting there on the left. The officials have let that go, which is interesting. Maybe they don't want the race to end under caution, because there's been reason to have 2 or 3 of these safety cars already tonight. We've got away with just the one. Race control certainly don't like throwing safety cars, but with 2 cars on the lead in the opening 3 corners, they really had no choice. And we hope you're enjoying our broadcast on SimShed Broadcasting. Now, I said that I didn't think he'd be here, but he is. So I'm no longer flying solo, which is good news. Nico Pop, good evening to you.
Good evening.
You've missed all the fun.
Oh, mate, it's Brands Hatch. It's always fun. Every lap.
Exactly. Every lap. Although, as I've said a couple of times already tonight, there'll be a few drivers very happy that they're in the simulator, not the real world thing tonight, because there'd be a few busted ribs and a few people in the hospital, I think.
Oh, really?
Oh, trouble there. Behind Trucker Joe Baldwin, that was Brad Clank, of course. He was edging closer to Baldwin to try and make a challenge for the lead, and now all that has evaporated, all that hard work gone. Baldwin's going to lead this comfortably. just a little bit too much grass on the exit of 3 there, Nick, and he was a passenger.
Yeah, he hit the inside curb and that tossed him over to the other side of the circuit on the way through. What we got? 8 minutes left, so still anything can happen.
Very much so. I have to say too, folks. Hammond's been in the thick of it all night, and unfortunately, he won't be very happy either, Nick, as you know. He's everywhere there's been an incident, he's had to take evasive action through a gravel trap or just stop on the racetrack and wait for them to clear. He won't be a happy boy, but he's charging back through at the moment. Look at him making light work here. Of course, sitting in behind him at the moment, it's important to note, I'm just trying to pick up actually, it's Liam Reston, but Reston's a lap down at the moment because of all the trouble he had, stalling on the grid and then falling off the circuit on lap 2 as well. So, Hammer Time doing a nice job there, coming around onto the main straight. Jared Daly, he's going to put the pressure on here and apply the blowtorch and go to position number 8 on the inside. One thing I love about Pro Mazda is the open wheel retro liveries that are being applied to these race cars. Nick, they look very, very sweet.
Yeah, oh jeez. They're really good. And because this car has been on this service for such a long time, there are so many paint jobs out there, and obviously there's some people still giving them a crack because we're using them, and it's a fun car to drive. Indeed
it is. So we've already had one safety car period. As I've said, there's a couple of incidents that have gone uncontrolled in that regard. There's a couple of incidents that were probably reason to throw the caution, but we didn't want the race to end under the caution. So we are pushing on through, and we're watching Brad Strayescu. So he's chasing Jared Smith at the moment. That's 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th on your screen there, folks. Nice and tight, which is good to see. 5.5 minutes to go. Lap 19 has started. That's Joe Baldwin leading the race. He's a couple of seconds clear of Brad Clank. Brad Clank will be gutted that he got that close to Joe Baldwin. Yes, it's not over yet by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just a little bit too far back now with only 5.25 minutes to go on the race.
Such a short track, very easy to lose time, very hard to make up time. What do we got? 1.6 seconds between the two of them. Coming to the final corner here. That'll give us 5 minutes to go, so they might get 5-6 laps in.
Well, I'll wager that it'll be probably somewhere in the vicinity of 7 or 8 because the lap times have been extremely quick tonight, 43.5 seconds. So we'll get a few in, don't worry about that. And it will be touch and go when they get back to the line in that last minute, whether they get an extra one to take us over the 20-minute mark or whether we'll get to the line just on 20 minutes. We'll wait and see how all that plays out. And we have been caught out before where we've crossed the line right on time and they've still got another lap. So we'll see how it all plays out. Yeah. Now, there's Pete Matson on your screen. We go on board with Julian Mucky. So Pete Matson's just ahead. Mucky's right in behind. Now's a chance to make an attack, but he's still not yet close enough. 2 car lengths is too far back in these cars. You need to be right on the bumper bar. And Mucky trying to get the run on the exit of 6 there. Back across the start-finish line on the Brabham straight on the run to turn 1. Just unable to do so as they make their way to 1. Well, let's go on board. That's it. Let's go on board and stay on board with Julian Mucky, Nick, and talk us through a lap of this 1.93 kilometre bull ring.
Alright, so we got Druids up here. It's probably the best passing opportunity that you got. Generally down a 2nd or 3rd gear depending on the car. Down Graham Hill into Graham Hill Bend. It's been tightened up over the years. Used to be almost flat out in open wheel race cars. Down Cooper Straight. Up through the entry here is called Surtees and then into McLaren's and Clearways. Up into Clark Curve, another 3rd gear corner. You can get a pass here, but there's a massive bump on the exit. So you've got to really watch your line here. The quickest way is to keep onto that white line on the right hand side. And
setting him up
is the best corner in any open wheel race car. It's high downforce. You've got to trust the car, and it sticks through there. In a car without any downforce, that corner is not as fun. So Mucky here really applying the blowtorch to Pete Madsen. He's only 0.3 of a second behind him. But as with this
one
circuit,
slip up from Pete, Bucky's through.
well, that's it. As with this circuit, if Pete just keeps it straight, the only passing opportunity really is into Druid. So, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he's going to keep that position. And I dare say the same for Clink and Baldwin, but Clink's got the gap down now to 0.6 from 2.1 on the 2 laps ago.
Yeah, he's done quite well. So we'll get back and have a look at that lead battle in just a moment. Let's just stick with Bucky here because he's really setting this up. Traffic is going to get in the way. That's going to ruin the opportunity at turn 2 for this point in time. But still,
two of the brightest coloured cars on the track.
There's time. Probably 3 laps to go here. Next time by the line. And let's go back to Michael Hammond. Up the inside. Job done. He won't be happy with where he is at the moment. He's buried in 8th, and he's too far back from Julian Mucky to be of any concern getting any further up the field. So this is now a race between Trucker Joe Baldwin and Brad Clank with less than 2 minutes to go. Let's find our leaders. There they are. Right. It's interesting. I reckon now it's 2 laps to go when they get back to the line. You don't get more than 2. So Brad Clank has really got to tighten this up. Maybe lap traffic will do him a favour. We'll wait and see. If he doesn't make a move now, he's going to miss out. But again, you need to be right on the clacker. And he's too far back to make a move on a circuit that has, as you said, Nick, maybe 2 legitimate overtaking opportunities.
I only said 1, really. You can't, unless someone makes a mistake, the only place is up here into this hairpin. And even then, you got to, by the looks of things, because these don't have a big braking zone, you're going to have to do a win it or bin it move. So as long as Joe keeps it straight and on the black stuff, he should be okay.
And Joe Baldwin, he's been working for a win for a while here. And this will be a great win for him and a real confidence booster going forward as far as the rest of the season is concerned. Main straight upon us, half a minute on the clock. We've got 1 to go at Brands Hatch. Clank is edging closer, but it's going to be a case of that mistake a couple of minutes ago is going to cost him here, Nick, because as you've seen, he's had the pace to claw back to within inches of Baldwin, but he's not going to have enough time. Oh, he looked to send it down the inside, but then he realised, hang on, check up. I'm going to slam in and ruin both our races if I do that. And he's decided to apply the brake at the last second, but this is Joe Baldwin's race to win here. 3 corners to go, make it 2.
Keeping an eye on the Matson Mucky battle of the brightest cars in iRacing.
That's it.
Just they're separated by less than a couple of minutes as well, so hopefully we can get back to that. But Joe Baldwin
wins on a Monday night. How nice is that? Lap 26 is where the race finishes. Julian Mucky's all over the back of Pete Madsen here in the last corner, and now he's the chance. Do they go side by side? Yes, they do. Mucky's going to edge ahead. They're side by side on the run to the line. 5 finished. Mucky got it. What about that?
Battle of the 2 brightest cars in iRacing.
There you go. Mucky again chipped and finally pounced on that last run of the line. See, I told you there were 2 legitimate overtaking opportunities on the main straight and turn 2. How about that? Well done, Julian Mucky. But that's the thing, Nick. This is a circuit where, unless it's turn 2, you've got to work all up to set a move up.
Yeah, you got to set a move up, but you also got to inch by inch close up very slowly. You can't really do it very quickly at this track, so because it's just so bloody small. It's fun, but yeah, look, only 8 cars finished on the lead lap.
Yep, exactly right. Let's throw them back up again. Yep. Trucker Joe Baldwin from Brad Clank, then Adam Coghlan. Look at the gap, 0.2 of a second between first and second. So I'll come back to that in a moment, but then another 11.7 seconds actually back to Adam Coghlan. He was clear of Jared Smith, Brad Stroyescu. In that battle that we're watching all the way to the line, Mucky and Matson. Then Michael Hammertime Hammond in position number 8, 36 seconds off the pace. He'll be filthy tonight. There's no doubt about that. It's not the way he would have liked to have backed up last week's domination. I'll guarantee you that. Ash Phillip, then Declan Reinhardt, Chris Stark, Justin Schweikort, Then Josh Thomas, Jamie Welch, Stephen Robertson, Sean Rees, then Warwick Sharp, Adam St. John, Liam Reston, and then also Wayne Visser. Over the page we go. 21st was Jared Daly, Luke Keamy, Josh Keane, Grant Gill, Brett Selby Wood. But look at that. From basically Reston down, they were well and truly out of contention there. In fact, the Jared Daly, Josh Keane, Luke Keamy, Grant Gill, and Brett Selby Wood cars did not even make it to the end of the race. They'd ejected themselves from the server before that. I was like, let's cut our losses here. We're done. They're on happy hour or maybe drowning their sorrows, one or the other at this point in time. Let's talk very quickly. Let's get Adam Coughlin in here firstly. Adam Coughlin's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Third place, mate. Nicely done. Looked like a bit of a lonely race given how far ahead of fourth you were, but how far behind first and second you were in a race that had a little bit of carnage left, right and centre. How'd you find it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Made a couple of mistakes at the start, off the line, bit of a spin, and under the safety car I was leading and I went off at the last corner.
Oh, so no.
Back to P3.
We didn't see that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But it worked out well because those two guys in front, well done to them. Yeah, they're a lot quicker than me, so I just sat in there nicely.
It was interesting. What was your view of the carnage at the start there?
I missed it. I didn't see it. So
no, you're very lucky then. Very lucky. It was one of those tracks, wasn't it? Fraught with a little bit of danger because we know open wheel racing around here can be tight and a little bit shambolic. It certainly lived up to the hype. But from your standpoint, once the safety car got off the circuit and the race got back on, it was pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. No,
Thoughts on...
Good race.
Indeed. Here comes a replay of the start, actually, for those of you watching at home. Thoughts on the series so far, because we're now 2 rounds in?
I'm really enjoying it. I like the open wheel cars. So it's one of my favourite categories. So Nick and that the whole Gentleman Sim Racing Club have all done a really good job of putting this together. Had a couple of races last season as well, but really enjoying it.
6 cars caught up in 2 incidents on that opening lap. It was, and then a separate incident there on the run to turn 3. Unbelievable. As I said, we had a couple of incidents later on in the race that could have triggered the safety car as well, but thankfully it was just the one. Thoughts on Okayama now, Adam? Because that's the next stop.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It's at least there'd be spread out track a bit more, so hopefully we won't get a safety car on the first lap.
Indeed. And what else is on your agenda as far as sim racing is concerned in the GSRC for the rest of the week?
GT3 tonight. So
very nice. Jumping straight out and straight in. Good.
Yeah, and then the Porsche Cup
on Wednesday night. How did you find that last week, given that it was the first round and all the excitement that went with that?
No, it was good, but it was pretty much expected to say everyone's going to go off track, and that they're a hard car to drive and to get used to them. So it's going to take probably a couple of rounds until everyone finds their groove and rhythm.
Indeed, it is. All right, mate. Thank you for that. We'll let you go and focus on the GT3 race. Which split are you in? Are you in the pro split with us, or are you in the pro am?
I am.
Okay. Good luck there. We'll keep everyone abreast of the results at the end of the broadcast of the pro race for both the pro am and the am race as well, mate. Catch up next week. Well done.
All right. Cheers, pal.
Let's talk to the guy that finished in second now. Brad Clank's in the house. It's a case of what might have been, Brad, because for the last 6 or 7 laps there, you had the pace. You closed the gap to Joe quite considerably after a small mistake at turn 3 in the third quarter of the race there. And that was all that was the difference between first and second. But are you happy with second?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that was a really fun race. So props to Joe there. He took the pressure. I could have maybe done a bit of a send towards the end there, but I really just wanted to make sure we both had a good result, and he just didn't make a mistake. Unfortunately, that little mistake partway through the race there dropped me back a couple of seconds. I had to work pretty hard to get back up there, and traffic kind of helped a little bit in places and then hindered in others. And but yeah, fun race. I really like this car. I haven't driven it for a long time. I wasn't really planning on doing it, but yeah, glad I jumped on tonight. It was a lot of fun.
And of course, you've been involved in some other races as well over the course of the last week. In fact, we saw you, I believe, in Friday night's supercar race, yeah?
No, not supercars.
No.
I was in stock cars.
Stock cars, gotcha. Yeah.
That was pretty fun race. So the 5 incident limit was pretty harsh. Yeah, I just rubbed Jackson towards the end of the race there on the penultimate lap. We both ended up with a drive-through from it, unfortunately. So, but it was good close battle in all that race. And TCR the other night was fun and had a pretty fun drive through the field in the Porsche Cup after that as well. So it's just
Mate,
just jumping into whatever is around, basically.
Exactly. The stock car racing, I mean, when you throw the stock cars and compare them to the GT3s, and then you compare them to the intro to wings, a completely different universe, those stock cars, aren't they?
Yeah, I actually prefer them to the supercars myself.
Yep.
I like the feeling of, you know, having that heavy car and the real long braking zones and that kind of thing, and the way the weight transfers on those cars. I think it's a lot of fun. Where the supercar almost feels like a GT3 car, you know, without traction control kind of thing now.
Yeah.
So I just kind of just try to run a whole heap of different things. I'm looking at doing the majors next year.
Yep.
So I just kind of joined this club a week or so ago just to jump in and just do some random races. And probably not going to try and put a championship together in any of them, but just to get experience in a whole heap of different cars leading up to the majors next year.
Quick comment. Yeah, no worries. It's good to have you on board. It's as we say, everyone's welcome. Quick comment on the carnage at the start there. Obviously, the safety car was thrown pretty quickly.
Yeah, just caught in my fob's not super wide. I'm not on triples or VR, but I could just see the car didn't move, and then I could see Warwick kind of trying to make his way around. So I was just trying not to wheel spin and slide down the track, which is really easy to do on that top side. So I was just trying to keep the car there so there was enough room. And then someone actually went off under safety car. I think we inherited a position under safety car when someone fell off the road as well. So that was helpful.
In fact, we just caught up with the person that was responsible for that before we were chatting to you. So you can thank him later. We're over a happy hour, I'm sure. The other comment I want from you before we let you go and we actually talk to Joe, because he's come in to have a chat to us, which we greatly appreciate. And actually, on that note, a quick memo to my director here that we're 10 minutes away from the other one, so I'm just loading into the other server if you want to do the same while I talk to the boys here. The racing between you and Joe, it was so tight there for so long, and we're seeing a lot of it on screen now. It just seemed as though you were so evenly matched for pace that it was too difficult to try and find a place to overtake. Nick mentioned a few minutes ago that it's a circuit that's very difficult to overtake on. He's back with us now. We'll get to him in a moment. Very difficult to overtake on, and it looked like that was certainly something that compromised your race there until the last lap, when from about 14 car lengths back, we saw you try and fire one down the inside and then pull out of it at the last minute. What was going through your mind throughout the course of the race? Because 6 corners, 2 genuine overtaking opportunities, and the rest is luck.
Yeah, it hinged on Joe making a mistake, and I just thought, I'll go in a bit deeper here. I knew it would probably screw my exit up from that corner, but I thought if I can distract him enough, maybe he'll open the wheel and go wide there. But yeah, he stuck to the line, and I just locked it up a little bit to make sure I didn't make contact with him, which is easy to do in these cars once you lose the air off the front wing. But no, just as I said just before, it was a really fun race, and he just did not make a mistake the whole time. So yeah, he just thoroughly deserved it.
Indeed, mate. Well done tonight. Great to catch up, and we'll look forward to seeing you in more races as the season goes on.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks.
Let's actually now take this opportunity to chat to Trucker Joe Baldwin. Joe, this is the first time I'm introducing you as a race winner in terms of the broadcast races, mate. Well done. And I dare say you can thank Liam Reston for causing all hell to break loose at the start there by stalling on the grid. You were the big beneficiary out of all that carnage.
There's a saying in racing, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and there was a couple of issues there at the start. Liam didn't jump. I actually went back and had a look. He had the revs up. I think he just forgot to put in gear, maybe. And and then one of the guys ran off there under safety car. I don't know what happened there, but after that, it was just trying to manage the traffic, I guess, was probably the hardest thing. But look, all props to Brad. He chased me down twice. I think he had a bit of an off there, and he run me down again. Getting held up in traffic and whatnot. But no, that was good fun.
It looked like it. And a comment from you on that traffic, because we noticed that around there, particularly being 1.93 kilometres, being 6 turns, a lot of traffic was always going to be an issue, but particularly because of the narrowness of the racetrack more than anything else, Joe.
Absolutely. You've got to, I guess you sort of get to learn the guys you race with, and some of the guys might give you a bit of room, and some of the guys might be sort of busy in their own battles because their skill level's probably not quite there yet. But you've got to give everybody that room, So I was just trying to be aware, and you can't just fire it up and expect everyone to get out of the way. So it was good. Just I had to be patient because I knew Brad probably had a couple of tenths per lap pace on me once we got out and going. So it was like I say, better to be lucky than good sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. However, nice confidence booster going forward, mate. I didn't get the final count of incident points. I think we'll have to try and dig that up before the end of the race. There won't be too many with a clean race in all of that carnage. But that's a nice little kick of confidence going forward. 8 rounds to go. Mikey Hammond was the championship leader going into this round. He finished 8th tonight and had more incident points than he'd probably be happy about, to be honest with you. But Okayama's the next stop. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I love Okayama, especially in this car. So I think I missed week 1. I missed last week. I got home from work late, so I was pretty bummed by that. But I love these little Mazdas. They're so much fun. But like Brad said, if you get underneath the back of someone, they can be hard to pass when everyone's very close. But Okayama's got the big braking zones in it, and it really lends itself to good racing, especially like the big right-hander up onto the back straight. There's about 5 different lines there that you can use to try and get a bit of pace on people. So I'm looking forward to Okayama. It's a good challenge, especially with the calibre of guys who we've got that can sort of run in the top 10 or 15 with these cars. They're all pretty good.
Just in adding to that there, Joe, I've deliberately changed the setup or put the setup on that it has massive rear wings, so you'll get some good toes down the back stretch as well. It's got a big barn door for a rear wing on it. So a bit of a hindrance here at the tiny brands hatch, but anything with long straights, mate, you pull up beside them and go past.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah, that makes for good racing. Like so long as you can make passes and get a bit of speed, it just adds to the broadcast and the excitement of the racing too. And it even makes driving them a lot more fun too. Like if you pull out and you can't pass anyone, you can get frustrated really easy. But if you can make passes and stuff, it just makes it more enjoyable for everyone involved, I guess.
Indeed it does, and good to have Nick back in the booth as well. Stand by, I'm coming to you in just a moment. Joe, go and spray the champagne, mate, or crack a cold one, whichever the case may be. Although I believe you've got GT3 racing to get to first on a double-up Monday night, but then go and spray the champagne, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Yeah, I do. I'm in second split. I didn't qualify for the GT3s this year. They're not really my thing. So, but after the season, but I'll definitely get in there and go and have a bit of fun with the boys in split 2. So, looking forward to that one.
Maybe report back afterwards.
Yeah, so
please do.
Well, mate. Yeah, I'll check in for sure.
Yeah. Look forward to it, mate. Come back anytime. Good to catch up. Well done. Joe Baldwin in absolute fine form there on a Monday night in Intro to Wings Round 2. Round 3, of course, Okayama International Circuit. We go to Japan next Monday night. That will be coming your way from 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 6:30 Eastern Time for those of you here in Queensland right here on JP SimShed Broadcasting. So looking forward to all of that. Nico Pop, let's talk to you. In the absence of our good mate Paul Nichols, who's resting on the couch watching us tonight. And we say hello to Nico and look forward to his company again on Wednesday and then Friday as well. this should be an excellent race. Last time we had the GT3 series at Brands Hatch, it provided some great entertainment and also some carnage. This is just a track that's susceptible to carnage. Trent Lavis won the race here on that occasion, but everyone's chasing D-Nice Gaderick at the moment. There he is, the number one, after winning 5 races in the last series, wrapping it up at the very end of the last round. He's gone out and clocked up a win first up in the new season. Now, that's an important point to note because he took a while to come on in Season 2, but from the outset of Season 3, he's on the ball.
He's very much on the ball, and he's got, I'm just trying to read it here. Oh, a big spin.
Step there.
He's got a 10th on Posse. Am I reading that right? Oh, no, he's got a couple 10ths on Posse. He's got 3 10ths on Posse, a 21.9 versus a 22.2. So, he is the man with the pace in this particular category. So he has the big target on his back, so to speak. We'll see if he can keep it at the front.
Indeed, he does. We get the championship points.
Oh, we'll just say we'll see if he can keep it at the
Exactly
pointy
right.
end and hopefully steer clear of all the carnage at the back, because this track is susceptible to carnage in sim racing.
In every sense of the word. So we've had an alteration to the scheduling on a Monday night. These guys have gone from having a longer practice and a shorter quality to a shorter quality and a shorter practice and a longer quality. And you had mucked that up. 20-minute practice followed by 50-minute qualifying, and that's something that's been brought about because of the congestion brought about by everyone trying to get out of the track in a 20-minute window. Not so on this occasion. So we'll get to the track facts and the championship stats and everything else in just a moment. Here's Brendan Whitaker having a spin here. You'll see it on the run into turn 1 in just a moment. 3.7 kilometres this circuit. Of course, it's in Kent in the United Kingdom. The altitude is 131 metres above sea level, of course. 45% fuel limit for these cars. Limited tyre sets during the race, and the setup is, of course, identical to baseline. The weather, well, 28th of September, looking good. 10 past 4 in the afternoon. So that's London time. That's a few hours into the future from where we are right now because of the, a 9-hour time difference. So it's only just gone 11 a.m. over there, so 11:22 in the morning. So we're a little bit further into the future than that, about 5 hours up the road, but that's okay. Mostly cloudy, 20 degrees. That's nothing unusual for England. In fact, the sooner they get wet weather into iRacing, the better it'll be for those English races. And the track is 23 degrees Celsius. The winds to the south at 19 kilometres an hour. Pace car speed limit, if we need it, we needed it earlier, will be 97 kilometres an hour. Pit lane speed, 72 kilometres an hour. Incident penalties every 15x and then every 5x after that. So, looking forward to that immensely.
What's Trent got on the front of his car? Is it Darkwing Duck or something? Count Duckula.
That's very, very clever. A nice little addition to the Lavis livery this week. I'll be interested to see what that's all about very shortly. We'll chat to him post-race, of course. He greatly enjoyed being in with us on Friday night for the supercar race in expert comments, so we'll have a chat to him about his GT3 exploits here at the end of this race. Now, interesting to note, in fact, I was going to say, Nick, do you need me to send you a timing link as well, since we're here? Or have you got it?
Might as well. I'm just
Okay.
watching off the feeds, so... No worries. Yeah, send me a through.
I'll send that to you now that I've got Facebook to work on the computer. But let's talk about the championship as it stands right now in the GT3 series. Of course, D-Nice was A-Nice last week. Very nice, in fact. So let's make that V-Nice. 32 points, 4-point lead over Paul Mansell, and then 3 points further back to Guy Leach. Glenn Postlethwaite on 24, 23 for Luke Turner. 22 for Emmerich Candola, Dan Siciliano on 21, 19 for Michael Angus, and 17 for John Merritt, the top 10 in the championship at this point in time. Sorry, Maverick Benson is 10th, I apologise, on 16 points. So that's then is that. We have got 1 minute and 50 left of qualifying here. We have over 40 cars in the server tonight. So it should be a full field of 40 lining up here for this race. So we're not quite at the capacity grids yet, but there are still people waiting to make their entrance into the series at a later point in time, Nick.
Yeah, I'll look. And there's also mid-season, a bit like football, mid-season promotions. So if say if someone's absolutely flat out dominating in the lower classes, they will go up. So if they fail to pre-qualify or something along those lines, and there is wind that there may be one or two people that will jump up, yeah, they'll come up and they'll get to race with the big boys.
Just when I want Facebook to work on the laptop, on the PC, it wants to cark it. So stand by, I'll get that link to you in a moment. Let's talk about this. 45 seconds to go in qualifying here. And at the moment, it's looking like another pole position coming out for Gaderick with Glenn Postlethwaite alongside in a race that will hopefully not be ruined on the first lap. Last time round, as soon as we got into the Grand Prix extended section of the circuit, all hell broke loose. There were 5 or 6 cars in the wall, and a couple of races ruined very quickly. I hope that tonight we don't have that. Dennis Gaderick, very nice at the moment with the top qualifying time here. The last man in the 21s. Checkered flag is flying. Session is complete. Last flying laps being completed here right now. As you can see on the bottom of your screen there, Parry Anastakis, Richard Mitchum, Justin Squircourt, Dan Siciliano, Glenn Postlethwaite, all still on flyers out there at this point in time. So we'll keep our eyes peeled to see if anyone improves. This Brands Hatch circuit, Nick, Grand Prix configuration just as good as the Indy layout. However, a little bit more runoff area.
Yeah, and some straighter bits of road which will provide us with some passing opportunities.
Which is always a good thing. Right. Dennis Gaderick, Paul Mansell, Guy Leach, they're the top 3 in this championship coming into this round. In fact, the wonderful bit of news that we have for you out of that first round, Audi, Ford, Ferrari, BMW, all in the top 10. So 4 different manufacturers. You remember the last series that we brought you in GT3 racing? It was Mercedes, it was BMW, it was... I've just had a mind blank. Mercedes, BMW, and Ferrari that were dominating that series. So Ferrari stay there, but Audi and Ford have come to the party as well, which is really good to see. There's the circuit. Just a little bit cooler. The track was really hot in the first one. Don't worry about that. It was...
I made sure.
It was
I set the first one up.
hot. Oh, mate, it was a shocker. But this time round, a lot cooler, which will suit these cars far better.
So what do we got? 22 degrees C, 60% humidity, a bit of cloud, and some pretty fast winds, like what we've been having in Brisbane lately, actually.
Yes.
Oh, I got the timing from someone else.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay. Nicely done, because I was going to say I was having trouble just loading Facebook, let alone anything else. It's probably because we're running 3 or 4 different high working programs at this point in time. So we're going to have a full roll-up lap here to get the grid sorted. So let's run through that for you now. Dennis Gaderick, a second pole position. For him, Glenn Postlethwaite alongside Trent Lavis, Brenton Hobson, Emmerich Candola, and Yanni Sorteria make up the first 3 rows. Then Ross Ponting and Paul Mansell from row 4, Chris Whitaker and Jamie Watch from row 5. Then we go back to Ben Miller and John Merritt from row 6. Flick over the page and we'll show you row 7, which says Paul Rogers and Richard Hunter. Row 8 is Bevan Moyes and Maverick Benson. Row 9 is Michael Engels and Peter Hunter. Row 10 is Gary Cousins and Lee Settles. Row 11, Guy Leach and Aaron Cooper. Row 12 is Dan Siciliano and Scott Nolan. The grid continues on. 40 of them here tonight. Row 13, is Justin Swercourt and Glenn Riddell. Row 14 is Jack Allisey and Stone Cold Racing's Matt Austin. Then we go back to row 15, Richard Mitchum and Pariana Starkus, Brendan Whitaker and Daniel Birchnell. From row 16, from row 17, it's Josh Fora and Rick Sibra. From row 18, our own Adam Lavis and Warwick Sharp. Row 19 is where you'll find Paul Wood and Andrew Goldman. Row 20 is Jamie Mishkong and Mishkaniga, I should say, and then, of course, Jared Daly. Rounding out this field for round 2 of the GT3 series in season 3 of 2020, as far as the Gentleman Sim Racing Club is concerned. You're watching it, I should say, Radio Habit, of course. You're watching it on Gentleman Sim Racing Club broadcast page. You're also watching it on the SimShed Broadcasting Twitch and YouTube channels as well. We're here with, thanks to Central Coast Subaru, LJ Hooker Gaindale, Racecraft, Flash Graphics, Oculair, and Simple Sim Computers, and all the other great people that help put this series together across the course of the season. Once the pace car leaves the grid, it'll bring the field around one lap under this safety car, and then the green flag will fly and the race will be underway. Nick, 45 minutes and all the keys to the race here. 1 will be traffic navigation, and 2 will be capitalising on the very limited overtaking opportunities, which, as you saw in the Intro to Wings race, isn't easy.
Yeah, keys to the race. 1, stay out of trouble, as it goes for each week.
Yes.
But this week more, this track more so than anything else. There's so many places where you can get into trouble that if you're behind someone that gets into trouble, you're going to run into them. If you're the one that gets into trouble, you're going to go off the track and probably on some parts of this track hit something. So key number 1 is stay out of trouble. Number 2 is manage your fuel and tires. Can you get through without can you go through and save if you're being held up by somebody? Maybe you haven't got enough speed to get past them, but you know you're faster. Maybe you can save some fuel. Save your tires, save your brakes.
Yep.
Make sure your weapons are sharp by the end of the race, that when you get into the pit stops, you don't have to go the extra 3 to 4 litres per lap or whatever you need to do, and you've saved enough that you can then leapfrog them in the pit stops. Number 3, my third key to the race would be watch your back. Your mirrors are going to be your best friends. Listen to your spotter, because if someone's spinning out on the way down into the Druids hairpin, you're going to get collected. If someone's spinning out through the back here, through Dingle Dell or the like, you're going to get collected.
Yep.
So you've got to have eyes on the back of your head.
Indeed you do. And just want to go back to that points table that I mentioned there earlier. Extraordinary opening round, of course. I apologise. I said it was Dennis's second pole position. It was actually Glenn Postlethwaite on pole last week. I just wanted to retract that before we go any further. So, 1 apiece for the men on the front row, and now we're going to get a true indication of how they stack up against each other. Dennis Gaderick from pole, Glenn Postlethwaite looking to make a statement, and Trent Lavis looking for his second win at this venue in 2020. Of course, he picked up one in the back end of season 1, and that seems so long ago. Brenton Hobson starting alongside him. Emmerich Candola from row 3. You've got 5 genuine contenders at the front of the field. Let's go racing at Brands Hatch on a Monday night. Up to the line and racing we go. Derek, a nice jump. Trent Lavis early, a brilliant start on the inside. Gone Postlethwaite. Wasted no time in mounting the assault and getting up in a second spot. Postlethwaite hung out to dry there at the moment. They head towards turn 2. Trouble at the back. Massive carnage. That'll be a safety car, I would think. There were 4 or 5 or 6 maybe cars involved, and they're smashing everywhere into the wall. Here it is again. Caution flag has been thrown. No surprise at all. And it all started right there.
62, who's that?
That was Ben Miller. Johnny Welch was also involved. And then just look at them like Skittles.
Yeah, I'm watching the live timing, and there's a lot of names just falling down the list. Michael Angus, Guy Leach, Paul Rogers, Ben Miller, Adam Maverick, Jamie Welch, Bevan Moyes, and Matt, Stone Cold Matt. I can't see his surname, but anyway.
Yeah, Matt Austin, of course, yeah.
So there's 4 laps that they lost of their race for being silly.
It's going to be a very long race, actually, if you look at the top of your screen there, folks. 32,767 laps at Brands Hatch tonight. We won't get that far. We'll, I was going to say that'd be. I don't even know how many you'd get done in a 24-hour round here, but that would be. We'd be racing for probably a couple of weeks. 32,000. Wow. Caution flag thrown. No real surprise. Lap 1 again at Brands Hatch. But this is the interesting thing, Nick, when we look at Brands Hatch, it has very similar correlation to Spa-Francorchamps. Series 1 Spa, the crash came at Eau Rouge. Series 2, they didn't even get to Eau Rouge. Season 1 at Brands Hatch, they got just off the Indy circuit onto the extended part of the layout. Season 2, they didn't make it that... Series 3, I should say, they didn't make it that far.
Well, it's a long race and it's a timed race, and you're just losing laps. And I don't get it. Like, I understand, hey, sim racing, whatever, woo, cheaper. We were discussing that on Saturday. But
yes, we were. Yeah.
It's just like being back at primary school again. You muck around in class, you get less playtime.
That's exactly right. Look at the
Guys, calm down.
look at the names in pit lane.
Well, that's
Three
it.
of them at least.
Calm down and get some laps under your belt. Then you can go for it. But yeah, they couldn't even get through. They couldn't even get through Paddock Hill. It's just astounding. They couldn't get through Paddock Hill, and we got, unfortunately, we got Dan Silisano in the pits, and he's just left, and Bevan Moyes is in the pits, and then we've got a lot of names that have dropped down.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Leach down 11 spots, Paul Rogers down 20 spots, Ben Miller down 23. I would dare say he was assisted in his spin there, and it was in front of the field. Jamie Welch, 25 spots. Michael Angus down 20 spots. I mean, now you're just losing playtime, boys.
Yeah. It's at this point in time that I really don't envy Chris Stark or Michael Porter in race control, Nick.
Yes, I was actually trying to say that earlier. Big shout out to those two for giving up their time.
Taking on the arduous task.
Well, yes. I mean, Michael Porter has worked for some supercar teams, and he's got a racing background himself. And I know Starkey is very he's got a racing background himself, and he's very firm in his calls. So they might rule like I do with an iron fist when I do race control. But hey, they both have a lot of background in this, so they'll be quite good at it.
Aerial Shots is always brought to you by Oculair, and you can see the cloud descending on Brands Hatch as the third comes around to complete lap number 2 under this caution, and
they lose it.
Drone cam as well. Have a look at that. So we've now got drone cam and our Oculair aerial shots coming in for you from. Yeah, exactly right. Hop to it. Maybe hit Oculair up for double. I don't know. But that's fantastic stuff because we're revolutionising sim broadcasting as well as the real thing. So that's really good to see. On the subject of Saturday, I didn't even get a chance to ask you, Nick. How did you enjoy getting back to a proper racetrack? And so, well, you can have your debates later about whether you call QR a proper racetrack or not. But because there are some people that won't. But just to be amongst the fuel and the tyre burn and the smoke and everything else, I mean, that's the part of the real world experience that you just don't get sitting behind the laptops here.
Well, I mean, it was good. It was good to get back to the circuit. However, having a car that was 5 seconds faster than everybody else, a car and a driver combination that was 5 seconds faster than anybody else, it was pretty boring. Plus, the car was reliable. Hence, why I was helping another competitor trying to load his stacked car onto a car trailer, because that was about the only excitement. So, needless to say, I got my hands more dirty today rebuilding my turbo than I did on the weekend just looking at a race car. So, but it was good to be a live racetrack, watching my driver toss it off at turn 6 on the first lap to miss an accident. So, yeah, it's good to be back out there, but I'd rather be behind the wheel personally.
Well, that's exactly right. So, to put it into context, mate, not at all. I was going to say it was nice to actually catch up with Nick in person because we work in separate offices, of course, when we do this due to social distancing and many other factors. But in the joys of technology, lights are out on the safety car. Oh, actually, no, they're not. They're going to go around one more time, I think. So that'll be 4 laps under the caution.
I think it'll
maybe
be
5. 2 as well.
I think it'll be 5.
Yeah, right.
I had to catch up to it. Then there's 4 laps, I believe. So, well,
okay.
I guess time will tell. Like I said,
This is
they're
exactly right.
missing out on their fun time. It's it's
And
not
it
just
just
the
means that we've got to
individual.
sit here and fill. And
Well, that's it.
Phil's not easy. Yeah, you really earn your keep when you fill. But anyway, 6.5 minutes already gone in race time.
They
And
just
Glenn
keep losing their lap
Postlethwaite,
time.
I'm
It's like
just
kids
having a
at
look
school.
there. There's a Glenn Postlethwaite was under, like, I don't know what was going on there. I just caught a glimpse of Glenn Postlethwaite maybe going around a car on the outside, and I'm like, hang on, it's safety car, you can't do that. So we'll wait and see how all that plays out. Just going back to everything else, what more drew me to the QR comments was the XLs. Everyone doesn't envy the DSOs and the officials that look after
Yeah.
the XL series, right? And I'm having that same drawback to Chris Stark and Michael Porter at this point in time as far as the GT3 series is concerned. Okay, here's that replay. Okay, so there was a car coming up on the inside passing
Passing in.
or attempting to
Thompson.
pass Glenn Postlethwaite, and that's a no-no because
That's
it's
Hobson
safety
on the
car.
inside there, yeah.
So I don't know what Brenton Hobson was thinking.
Just quickly on positions gained, highest gainer so far is Brendan Whitaker from 31st to 11th, and also Andrew Goldman from 38th to 27th. So,
31st to 20th for Brendan Whitaker,
my
I think.
apologies,
You'll find
sorry,
it. Yeah.
my apologies. Yeah.
Right.
So
I was
those
starting
two
to get too
gaining 11.
excited then.
Those two
Yeah.
gaining 11, and the biggest drop is Jamie Welsh losing 25 spots from down to 35th there. So what was that, 10th to
From 10th.
35th?
Yeah, exactly. So what's interesting here, lights are out on the safety car, we're about to get back going. Dennis Gaderick not wasting any time. And look at the gap to Trent Lavis. Go with him, Trent. Go with him. Or is Trent playing tactically to hold the pack back and let Dennis go? No, they close up. Here we go. Right, Gaderick, Lavis, Postlethwaite, Hobson, the top four. Then Emmerich Candola in fifth. Race back on at Brands Hatch. Here we go again. And Gaderick will very much Valtteri Bottas style hold them up on the run to the line. There they go. Run to the first corner. Already 2 and 3 wide further back. Limited overtaking opportunities here. Let's wait and see. Fingers crossed they get through this time.
Please get through.
Let's hope we don't have to throw the safety car again, Nick.
Yeah, please get through, guys. Come on. At least get a lap under your belts.
Chris Whitaker around the outside. Well, that's right, Nick. Cold, yeah, 100%.
Cold tires, cold brakes, cold minds. So I can see on my timing screen some people just putting wheels off track now. So wow, what a shot!
Brilliant shot. On board with Glenn Postlethwaite here, following Trent Lavis. How key will that start, that jump from Trent Lavis to get by Glenn Postlethwaite turn out to be? We will wait and see. Gaderick clear by a couple of lengths. Lavis going with him. This was the circuit where Lavis enjoyed success back in season 1. And he's fresh with confidence after a stock car win on Friday night as well. Postlethwaite, we're used to seeing him towered up in stock cars. He wasn't in the server on Friday night. We'll wait and see if he's back this week at some point. But he's got his attention on not only GT3 here on a Monday night, but also Porsche GT3 as well on a Wednesday night. So we'll bring you that from Okayama Wednesday night. Looking forward to it immensely. Around they come again. Lee Siddle sitting there. Position number 14. Across the line and all up in the books. And finally one under full racing conditions. 10.5 gone. Emmerich Candola. Around the outside of the skid control entry. Looking now up on the inside. Oh, almost contact. Wow. So this is about to get very, very interesting. Because I don't know exactly what happened there, Nick, but Lavis has slipped back to 4th according to the timesheets. So Postlethwaite's got through and Hobson went through as well. While we were watching something else going on. And now look at that lead that Gaderick's opened up. I was a little bit confused when I saw the skid control entry. I thought that might have been Adam sitting in there as lap traffic, but it wasn't. It was Trent, and we don't know exactly what happened to Trent there. We'll have to find out. because we were following a couple of other cars around there at the back half of the last lap. 11.5 gone, so about quarter race distance here. And it's looking very nice for Dennis Gaderick at the moment. Across the line we go.
Yeah, Trent's come across in 4th now, and Gaderick's leading by just on 2 seconds. So I don't know what happened to Trent there. And his lap time's at least 0.6 slower. So yeah, he's dropped some time somewhere.
Fast repair limit of 1 already used by several drivers here tonight, but we still have the full field of 40 running on this 7th lap of competition. Nice to have you with us. Zach Cabot and Nico Pop with you for our coverage of round 2 of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club 3rd season GT3 series in 2020. SimShed Broadcasting bringing you all the action on a Monday and Friday night, and of course Adam Lavis through his Maverick Twitch account on a Wednesday night. And we're grateful for the great work of both JP and Adam throughout the course of this season. 32 minutes left on the clock here. You're watching Chris Whitaker. He's sitting there nice. Oh, trouble! No, he's not sitting nicely anymore. He's just been launched into the stratosphere. And I don't know if there was contact there, but he lost control, fired it into the wall, and it was a sitting duck from there back onto the racetrack and collected by oncoming traffic, which was 2 and 3 wide there in the mid-pack, trying to find a clean piece of real estate. And thankfully, with the fast eject, Chris Whitaker hasn't triggered another safety car here, because we didn't need that, but my goodness, what a hit that was.
I'm watching the timing screens, and there are positions changing left, right, and centre. Just quickly, in iRacing, if you get launched like that, there is an actual ceiling where you hit, and you'll be reset back to the pits anyway. So, I don't know what happened there, but that was huge.
I tell you what, there's some good replays coming up. What happened to Trent a couple of laps ago? What happened to Chris there? There'll be some good replays for you post-race, folks, when we're talking to these drivers, so stick around. I'll be interested to see how patient Chris Whitaker is and whether he ejects himself from the server or whether he gets back out there. We'll wait and see.
Paul Woodsy Woods on the way out. Daniel Birchnell's out of the pits. That is. Chris Whitaker's in it. Richard Hunter's in it. And Richard Mitchum's in the pits. So it might have affected more than just Chris. I don't expect them to be coming in here anytime soon.
No. And if so, we'll apply the usual language warning as well, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about that. Right. Gaderick, Postlethwaite, Lavis putting the pressure on Hobson here. This is for 3rd. Lavis down the inside. Nicely done. Hobson wants to force the issue and stay with him, but he has no choice but to give. And look at Emma Candola getting in there as well. Right. Now the battle's on.
Chris Whitaker just...
Sorry, you go.
Chris Whitaker just went back out of the pits. There he is there.
Okay, so back out on the racetrack. There he is. When it comes to the 3 that we're talking about there, here they come down the hill. Lavis, Hobson, Candola. They can't afford to get complacent here, Nick. They need to work together to push forward. If they get caught jockeying for positions here, they'll lose Glenn Postlethwaite. They've already lost Dennis Gaderick.
Yeah, exactly. A bit like a super speedway racing and NASCAR. You got to work together to go faster. Once they start dicing, they'll lose time.
Indeed, you will. Right. So we're on board with Brenton Hobson. Looking forward to seeing what he can do this week. Last week didn't go to plan for him, of course. As a result, he finds himself down the order in 15th in the point standings. It was a fuel issue. Oh, Candola! He set that up right from the last quarter and got by on the inside into turn 1. Candola to 4th, and that gives Lavis about 3 car lengths of breathing space. Hobson back to 5th now. What a race this is turning out to be. Gaderick's gone. He's up the road by about 3.5. But then Postlethwaite, Lavis, they're all in with the mix here. If Candola can get through by Hobson, which he's done, now it's about getting to Lavis and then putting the pressure on maybe Glenn Postlethwaite if he can get some speed up here. Candola was the guy that drove the last series without a hell of a lot of luck, but some great race wins along the way. Missed out on the championship by a few points as a result. But he means business in Season 3, and it's great to see him back on the grid. Hopefully the extra time zone configurations that come into play on Sunday don't compromise his GT racing too much, and he'll be with us on the grid next week, of course. All of our competitors, folks, from New Zealand all the way over to Western Australia, compromised by time changes that take place from, well, New Zealand started daylight saving yesterday, and then everyone else joins in next week. So lap 11, 27 and 44 left on the clock here. Just wanted to have a look as well in the actual server here, Nick, for some track info. Important to note that it's about 4:42 in the afternoon track time. Mostly cloudy, 20 degrees, track 22. We mentioned that at the top of the broadcast. I just wanted to reiterate that for the benefit of everyone that's maybe just joining us. And only 9 corners on this circuit, which again highlights what we were saying earlier, according to iRacing that is. So I think the feed that you read on Wikipedia will say that it's 10 or 11. But anyway, we always have indiscrepancies like that. But this is the point, Nick. When you look on board here with someone like Peter Hunter, he will be setting this overtaking opportunity up. In this case, he's managed to do it down the hill, and that's fine. Down the inside, job done, beautiful move. Got through on the inside of Maverick Benson. But 9 times out of 10, the moves don't happen that easily. You're working and chipping away at them for maybe a lap, sometimes half a lap. They don't always happen exactly bang on when you want them to.
Oh, you need a little bit of cooperation from the other driver as well.
Exactly.
And here we go. We got Glenn Postlethwaite.
Postlethwaite's in the lane.
I'm just looking at the
There we
time
go.
screen. Where is he? Brendan Hobson's about. Oh, he's back on pace now. So his last 2 laps, he's dropped down now to, it was 5th position before that pit stop from Glenn. So he was losing time for some reason. I just clicked onto his switch, and he doesn't seem to have any damage on his car. So, but he has the eyes on, so he looks angry. So he's onto it now.
Nothing wrong with that.
And just looking for
some of these bikes drive better, i.e. Michael Hammond, when they're cranky.
And looking further down, I'm just looking at Adam Lavis's Twitch. He's just coming across the line now. So where's he sit in 27th position? So he can be our mid pack reporter as well. So he's doing quite well. He's in with Justin Stewart and Matt Austin there. So interesting to look at their Twitches and see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly right. This is the thing though. As you say, Adam being our mid-race, our midfield reporter, you should point out there's another one in Parry Anastakis. He's sitting down there in 20th at the moment, up 10 spots, but Adam got caught up in all that kerfuffle at the start, so it's not really a surprise to see him still trying to work his way through. And unfortunately, that incident at the start, which we'll replay from as many angles as we possibly can at the end of the race, so you can get another good look at it, folks. The fact of the matter, and sorry to just launch a hell of a lot of work on JP like that, but here we go. Maverick Benson in the lane. This is the thing. When you have trouble at the front of the pack, the rest of the field are sitting ducks, and they're basically target practice. So it was no surprise whatsoever to see as many cars get caught up in that carnage as we did. That's why the safety car got thrown in the first place. 24 and a quarter minutes to go here. And here's Gary Cousins. Nick.
Just quickly, Glenn Postlethwaite has fed back out into 34th position, and his pit time was 50.55 seconds. So something's happened there. And he's right in front of one of my teammates, Paul Wood there, flying the colours for my team. But
you don't suppose he got a pit penalty or something?
I haven't seen anything flash up, so maybe he had some damage to repair or something along those lines, but he has fallen way back. He's now sitting in 33rd as he crosses the line, so that's
very unlike one Postlethwaite.
All the pit stops that I've seen here, they indicate 4.5 to 5.5 seconds, maybe 6 seconds. So the highest positioned car to have stopped is 17th, Paul Rogers. So it's going to be there's a lot of cars to unfold.
Yeah.
A lot of things going on here out of the 40 car field.
It's going to be a long night now for Glenn Postlethwaite. 23 minutes, 20 seconds to go. We're at that point where these cars can fuel up and get home, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing them in the lane. 45% fuel capacity. Fuel burn around here from memory, Nick, not too bad.
Yes, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I haven't done the numbers myself. But yeah, it shouldn't be too bad because it's not long periods of full throttle. So the fuel burn shouldn't be too bad. So, this is unfortunate. Dennis Gadrick's right behind my teammate now. So where did he fall to? Looks like he might be getting lapped here. So that's unfortunate. Paul, I just had to chat to him before. He's not getting along with this circuit or this car. So I'd be interested to see his thoughts at the end of this.
How often do you hear that from, well, okay, Paul's the example tonight, but other drivers when we get throughout the season? There's always one that chimes in on a Monday night in the post-race and says, look, this circuit and I aren't friends.
Well, if it was me, I just don't race the circuits, a la Sebring, so that's just me.
Well, that's very true. Oh! Wow, that was lucky.
Sido Riddell in front here went wide, and the other BMW went wide and then bounced back off the wall into the track. So,
and that was Gary Cousins. So you'll see the replay here. Gary Cousins, a passenger, bang into the wall. Look at this.
Through Dingledale, just gets a bit of the grass.
Just a little bit of grass, and that's all it takes. Look at that. Wait for it. Bang. There you go. It's done. Gaderick, Lavis, and Candola, the top three in this race at the moment. Actually, this is interesting.
I was just going to say, hopefully Trading Paints loads up so we can see the team sponsors on that car.
Yes. So, some of mine have loaded, some haven't, as you know. So,
the bigger the field, the harder it is for it to load.
Exactly. Lavis is now under pressure in traffic from Emirates Candola. 0.7 of a second is all the margin from Lavis back to Candola when we can find that battle. But at the moment, Dennis Gaderick 7 seconds up the road and doing a very nice job. And it's interesting, Nick, because last time round, he swept all the North American circuits that we went to in both Canada and the USA, then won Bathurst. Now he's trying to enjoy his European adventures as well. And there's a couple more European rounds later in the season, but he started very nicely.
Well, you can see just as he crossed the line there on the map there, he's pretty much got the whole of the front stretch to himself. So he's in clear air. He's got, 8.6 seconds up his hand. He's just set his, or almost his fastest lap on that lap, and is the only car in the 1:22. So we might have to put him to end of line or something, or get him to start last to let anybody have a chance here.
Pretty much. Just incredible form at this point in time. Right here, that was Gianni Sorteria, but now we go back to Trent Lavis because look at this. This is the battle for second. Hotting up here as we approach 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Sim time. And we are 19 minutes and 53 seconds away from the end of this race. Lavis, Candola, second and third. Forget about the rest. This is our focus at this point in time. Only 0.7 of a second separate this pair. They're trying to go as hard as they can, knowing that there's still a pit stop, knowing there's still lap traffic. But the problem is they won't have any chance unless there is a safety car thrown of catching Dennis Gaderick here. Round onto the main straight. They'll go by the pit slick again. And they've still got that compulsory pit stop. Well, it's compulsory due to fuel capacity more than anything else. It's forced. But that will be coming up in the closing 19 minutes here. We are only 25 minutes into the race, 26 minutes into the race. But that's a poignant factor going forward, Nick. Of course, there are so many different approaches to fuel strategy here. It's not just time left in the race. It's sometimes these guys will take that option of getting clear air as well, which is hard around here.
Exactly, yeah. So this is all playing into Dennis's hands. As they always say in the NASCAR, what's the best strategy is to have the fastest car, so you can do anything you like. So
Correct.
Dennis has got heaps of space. Trent's coming up to 34th. Jared Daly now in 34th position, the first car lap down, and he's got Chris Whitaker following in behind as well after the trip to space there for him. So the highest place car that has pitted is Brenton Hobson, and I believe that was on, does that say pit lap 14? Is that correct? Not too sure what lap they're on. So he is the highest.
17.
Yep, so he is the highest placed car to have pitted. He's in 13th position, so he's somebody to keep an eye out for.
Glenn Postlethwaite's shocking night continues. He's just gone off the road between turn 1 and 2, and Gary Cousins has got by around the outside. So Postlethwaite's nightmare of a run continues here, sitting down, buried in the pack in 30th at the moment. He's one of the big losers of the night, from 2nd down to 30th here. However, there are still pit stops to play out, so he may claw some ground back, but it won't be much.
And that's the
Dennis Gaderick in complete control. 17.5 to go, Nick.
And well, he's catching up to Glenn as well. So
yeah,
he's got Michael Angus, Paul Wood, Glenn Postlethwaite, and Gary Cousins all in front of him. So geez, how can anybody stop this steamroller?
We've got Andrew Goldman pointing in the wrong direction as well, but he's been able to turn it around and get back going. Oh, actually, I say that, but he's actually stopped again. And you will see him in just a moment here. Oh, I tell you what, Dennis Gaderick almost got cleaned up by Andrew Goldman sitting on the side of the road there. And that would have helped Emmerich Candola and Trent Laverson. That would be about the only thing. Oh, Ravo Candola! Candola off the road and clipping the dirt. Whoa! Now they're feeling the pressure. Absolutely. They're feeling the pressure though, Nick. Trent knows that Emmerett's there. Emmerich knows that he's got to try and get past Trent if he's any chance of second place in this race. It's just not been an easy task, and when you're trying to push it 10 tenths, mistakes like that do happen. There's John Merritt in the pit lane now. 28.17 on the clock last time by the line for Dennis Gaderick. He's on lap 18 of this race. And everyone down to 29th remains on the lead lap, although that count will diminish as the night goes on, because Dennis Gaderick will close in and get the job done, you would suspect. And it's interesting, Nick, because we looked at the grid. There were 5 genuine contenders at the outset here. Now there's just 1.
Yeah. It's hard to look past Dennis, isn't it? He's just
absolutely.
He's just got a bit between his teeth, and he's just a steamroller at the moment. He's just got the setup, he's got the driving, he's got the eyes on. He's current carryover champ. He still hasn't sent me any pictures from his Ferrari adventure, but anyway, I'll hit him up about that in the next in the chat. But I think he's just going to go as far as he can, try and lap the whole field. Here he is.
He's in the lane. Actually, there we go. D-Nice Gaderick in the lane. Now, it's interesting to note, too, because Trent Laver sent me a message earlier in the day. Well. So both of them in. So we'll get to that in just a moment. We've got trouble on pit entry as well. 2 cars round, the 57 and also Jared Daly. So we'll try and get back to that for you as well. Interesting to point as well, Trent Laver sent me a message earlier in the day with relation to Dennis Gaderick. He said, here's some news for you. Dennis had a race in the iRacing VR SGT Series, and he's the fastest Aussie over a lap in front of Matt Campbell and also Jackson Evans. So the guy's not mucking around. I said to Trent Laver,
just beats Brenton Hobson now.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Hollo's the big winner in all of that, isn't it? Isn't he? So let's wait and see how all that plays out. Has Hobbo got the pace to run with him in the closing stages here? I said to Trent, maybe, and Justin Schwercourt in trouble off screen as well, maybe you need to get him signed on for a co-drive in the real world in one of the Willowbank or Lakeside 300s.
100%.
And the message that came back to me, it'll be the launch pad for our discussion tonight, he said, that's it. He only missed out on the GT Academy because he couldn't do more than 20 push-ups. And as someone that struggles to do 10, I can relate to that personally. So I feel for Dennis, but I get it.
You're talking to a personal trainer here, I can help him out with that.
That's right. Exactly right. So you might
Just-
have to do a club quid pro quo, mate.
100%. Just quickly on Dennis, he has only fallen to 4th.
Yeah.
He's now gone to
So
3rd.
Yanni
because a couple more
Sorteria's
cars
ahead.
in. So wow, Dennis has barely lost any track position whatsoever.
And that just goes to show how dominant his display has been tonight. Once all this plays out, Yanni comes in, Emmerich come in to do their pit stops. Dennis will be sitting very pretty with 13 minutes to go here.
Just quickly.
Great to have your company on a Monday night. Yes, Nick?
So we got Amrit and Yanni first and second, yet to pit. So on adjusted score, it should be Dennis from Trent, from Hobson, from Paul Rogers, and John Merritt.
And that's actually a nice fight back from Brenton Hobson, because he was
he just went
well
off track.
behind there a short while ago.
He just went off track, and Paul Rogers just got past him. There he is.
Yeah, there you go. So, I was going to say, it hasn't been Hobbo's night. I mean, trouble there. 2 cars, in fact, on the side of the road. Emmerich Candola gets through, somewhat relatively unscathed.
And he's in.
And he's in. And that's no surprise. The race leader is in. But he won't be the race leader for long. Dennis Gaderick will take that back. There he is across the line.
And Yanni's in as well.
Yanni Sorteria in to complete his stop, and that'll be everything fizzling out as far as pit stops are concerned. D-Nice Gaderick back to the race lead now through turn 1.
He's got
Back to a very comfortable lead.
He's got that much of a dominating drive and car that Amrit and Yanni did not even leave that lap. He got back to the finish line before they could even get to it.
I know.
And I know
it's
from
incredible.
a NASCAR perspective, having done it in a lot of NASCAR races, that's really frustrating when you're trying to get the points for leading a lap.
Yep. 100%. Just frustrating all round for those guys. But Dennis's performance tonight has just been emphatic, to say the least. Emmerich Candola second, Trent Lavis third. Of course, Emmerich will fall down, I would suspect. Oh, actually, no. I stand corrected. He's come out just in front of Trent there. So let's have a look at this, because now the battle for second is back on. And Trent was ahead of Emmerich before the pit stop sequence. So Emmerich's been able to leapfrog Trent by going later into the race. So now, just 2 car lengths separate them on the racetrack. Brenton Hobson fourth, but a long way out of contention here. When normally he'd be an outright front runner, he's just not hit the mark in these two races so far to start the championship. However, he does come home strong, and we've seen that in the past. We'll keep our eyes on that. So, Candola and Lavis, 12 seconds away from Gaderick. We're right on board with Trent now.
Just quickly, Glenn Postlethwaite, Paul Mantle, and where I lost it now, Maverick Benson, all over 50 seconds stationary in the pit lane. So, repairing damage or something along those lines, maybe taking away too much fuel or changing tyres, because tyres and fuel are done separately in these GT cars. But
They are.
track position, Glenn, who started, where did he start? 3rd or 2nd?
Second.
He's now in 18th position.
Yeah. It's been a rotten night for Glenn Postlethwaite at the office. There's no doubt about that. Light traffic getting out of the way here for Trent Lavis, who's trying to set up a move on Emmerich Candola. I tell you what, jeez. He just got hit by that car in there beside him. And that's not a car that's in contention here. What the hell is that all about? My goodness gracious me, he won't be happy, Trent Lavis.
I think he got hit. I'm not 100% sure. We can't.
Now he's wobbly.
Can't rule it out, but it did look like he got hit. But now he's just going to buckle down again and get on with it again. Yeah.
Yeah, he's losing time, Nick. There's something. He definitely got a hit. You saw it on the onboard. He definitely got a touch. That car moved, and the camera moved as well. So there's something to explain there. We'll try and track it down at the end of the race for you and find all that out. 9 minutes away from the checkered flag, and I think Emmerich Candola could just about seal second now, because he's managed to put about 4 seconds between himself and Lavis. Have a look at that.
He's got Maverick Benson in between him too. Just a quick shout out, and the director just beat me to it. Warwick Sharp up 19 positions. We haven't talked about him all night, but look at him go. He's up 19 positions. He's in 17th right now, and he's closing in on Guy Leach in the Ford GT.
And it's funny, isn't it? The Ford GT was such a weapon car last week. Nowhere tonight.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. I think certain tracks will suit certain cars, unless you're Dennis. So
Correct.
let's see how Mr. Sharp here goes with Mr. Leach, because the guy has already gained 5 positions from his starting position as well. So Warwick here has one of the faster pit stops as well. So I'm hoping he's got
trouble.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, and he did well to get through there unscathed. Here's a replay. We haven't had a chance to get to these for a while, so let's have a look.
Guy Leach to the forward.
Up on the inside. Yeah, no thanks.
Oi,
Up
far
and
out.
around. Whoa.
And following them through is Glenn Postlethwaite.
I tell you what, I'll be interested to see what the incident count is tonight. There won't be too many clean races amongst this bunch, unless your name's Dennis Gaderick.
Yeah. Lucky there's no sports bet on this.
Exactly. 7 minutes and 35 to go. 25, I should say. So, Gaderick's got a clean race. The car in 8th position is, of course, Lee Siddles, Aaron Cooper. They've both got clean races. They're the only two in the top 20. 3, I should say.
Good work.
So, there you go. 1x each for Candola and Lavis.
Sharp's got some pressure now.
And the only one with, no one with more than 5 in the top 10, in the top 20 even. So a relatively clean race for all and sundry.
Glenn
But I wouldn't
Postlethwaite
like to be looking at the numbers at the bottom of the order.
putting the thumb screws into
Oh,
Warwick
Warwick
Sharp, and he's
Sharp.
got the position.
Hey, nicely done. Glenn Postlethwaite through on the inside to get back up into 15th now. The next target is Parry Anastakis. He's 2.5 seconds up the road. Has he got enough time? 6.5 minutes? Maybe. But I think Parry might be okay there for 14th at this point in time. Just looking further down the order, our mate Chris Whitaker. I just wanted to see where he managed to get back to, but I'm not having a lot of luck here.
Guy Leach is still trying to get past that BMW he spun. There's Chris Whitaker.
23rd at the moment for Chris Whitaker, and thanks to JP for putting him on the screen. So that's an all right fight back, considering he got launched into space. And it's just not long after the safety car, actually. It's important to note.
We better tell Chris that I don't think NASA's taking any more people to space. But anyway.
Any more race
Maybe.
cars, yeah. And
Maybe
and
Elon
people
Musk.
space is a no-no with COVID, I think.
Might be safer up there. As we see
Yeah,
Trent
true,
Davis.
who knows?
He's is he closing Amrit down? He's got, what's he got there? About a 1.6?
1.6 seconds.
doing
He'll be
similar
driving
lap times.
cranky.
Yeah, he's just taking 2/10 here, there, everywhere. So similar lap times. It's going to be gonna be tight with
It
the
needs to
5
be
minutes
3
to
or
go.
4. It needs to be 3/10, 4/10. It can't be 2 because he'll fall just short of getting him. If he can close 3 or 4, there's what? Minute 22, the best time from Gaderick thus far. So by the time he gets back to the line, there's 4 laps to go here because Gaderick's already across the line. So he's completed another lap. And he'll get 3 in before the clock hits 0. So that makes it 4. 4 laps left in the race as Gaderick squeezes through on lap traffic and does old mate in behind a favour in the process.
Up to 18th position. The man is that dominant.
It's just been a brilliant, faultless drive tonight from Dennis Gaderick. It's going to be pole. It's going to be the fastest lap. It's going to be
Glenn.
a few different things as well. Glenn Postlethwaite down on the inside of
got it.
Parry, and job done. He didn't muck around in getting the Parry, did he? My goodness.
And he
I thought
brought Warwick
2.5
Sharp with
seconds
him.
would be a bit too much, but by gee, that was good stuff. Warwick Sharp hanging in there as well. Warwick's had a great night at the office. His next target is Parry Anastakis, but Glenn Postlethwaite has clear air now to keep accelerating away. 14th, he's I think he's 9 seconds
Here's
away
Warwick.
from Brendan
Here's
Whitaker. Warwick Sharp on the
Up the
inside of
inside.
Anastakis. He didn't waste any time in getting by. Converted the opportunity at the first possible chance. Parry Anastakis in all of that. Unfortunately, loses his spot in the top 15. He's back to 16th now. The next target for Postlethwaite is Brendan Whitaker, but he's too far up the road. It's about 9 seconds, and Glenn's good, but he's not that good to make it up in 3.5 minutes unless Brendan gets tapped here by Richard Hunter or turned around or makes a mistake. Now there's Dennis Gaderick. 3 laps to go.
Just previously to that, Brendan Whitaker was chasing Jack Allisey. Jack Allisey fell off the road and lost to Brendan Whitaker, Postlethwaite and Sharp. So he's fallen in between Sharp and Anastakis there. So another position for Postlethwaite and Sharp.
Indeed it is. So, what a dominant display this has been. Here's Paul Mansell now. And he, again, a bloke that was on the podium last week. He's all over Parry Anastakis now. So, all of a sudden, Parry's being relegated from 14th, and it could soon be 17th that he finds himself in. And the closing stage of the race here, straight down the inside. Mansell made that look easy. Parry wants to force the issue on the outside, but he ends up yielding. That is Mansell through into position number 15 now.
I reckon Parry must have short filled. He's saving. It looks like he's saving. He's not fighting these guys. I reckon he's saving fuel.
Well, fuel saving.
Sorry.
Fuel saving's been an ongoing issue in this championship. Last week it was Brenton Hobson that short fueled himself for memory. So we'll wait and see how all those storylines play out. Who writes the script for these races? They just throw the scripts out each week because it throws up something completely different and unexpected. It's been great to watch, and we hope everyone's enjoyed it wherever they've been tuning in tonight. 2 minutes to go. Have a look at this. Trent Laver giving Emmerich Candola the hurry up. 2 minutes to go. It's this lap and one more. That's it. Here we go.
He took out half a second from him the last lap. So, Amrit needs to get a move on, or Trent's going to get past him pretty quick.
Indeed. I'm just going to have a look at the iRacing server so that I get complete word of when Gaderick crosses the line this time by, because he'll be coming around and it will be 1 minute to go on the clock, so it'll therefore be one lap. We won't be pushing for 2. It'll be 1 lap to go. There he is now coming into turn 10 for the last time. Bar 1.
Lead.
A last lap to go. And we are on lap 29 of the race, so it's about to go to lap 30, and he's got an emphatic lead of nearly 14 seconds. The last lap at Brands Hatch. 1 minute on the clock when he crossed the line, and 3 seconds for a little bit of change there. So it will be the last lap. Don't worry about that. Let's go back to this battle between Lavis and Candola. 2 car lengths is the advantage, Candola. Back to Lavis now. And that might just be enough, but stranger things have happened here.
And you got to
We've got to keep our eyes on Candola, and we've got to keep our eyes on Gaderick when he crosses the line, Nick.
There's also another fight which is even closer. It's Yanni and John Merritt. So we've got to keep our eyes all over the show. I'll keep looking at the timing screen. You look at the race screen, and I'll let you know what's going on.
Right,
now fallen to 8/10, so it's all over the show.
It's touch and go. If they've got any lap traffic in the way, that might be his only friend at this point in time, but I think Emirate's going to do enough. Right, let's ride with this bloke. Ferrari last season and dominated North American races and the finale. Won the championship by sealing that race at Mount Panorama. Now swapped over to Audi, gone to the European circuits, and completely and utterly annihilated the field. 2 weeks on the trot. Last turn, checkered flag. Dennis Gaderick gets the job done again on a Monday night in what's becoming just as regular a phrase as Glenn Postlethwaite winning a stock car race.
Oh,
fantastic racing there. Look how close this is. Lavis pushes Candola into the grass, into the gravel. And he'll look to redress, but I think Lavis will come across the line in second and put up with the penalty after the fact. Lavis goes second. Actually, no, he's going to wait, and Candola goes across the line. What about that for a finish, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen? Candola by 0.2 of a second when Lavis tried to fire it down the inside. And it was just a little bit of car-to-car contact.
A headlight too wide.
That's it. And that's the thing. Nick, we talk about this racing all the time. We'll watch the rest of the field come across the line, courtesy of the drone cam there.
Yanni
Emmerich
failed
Candola gets
to get
second.
John Merritt by 6/10.
Whoa.
Almost as close.
It certainly was. 18.9 seconds to win for Dennis Gaderick in the end there. What an emphatic victory that was. Emmerich Candola second, Trent Lavis, Brenton Hobson, John Merritt the top 5, then Yanni, Hunter, Siddles, Rogers and Ponting made up the top 10. We'll get to the full results for you in just a moment. Trent was in a lose-lose situation there because it was a case of I need to have a crack, and if I don't, I'll be disappointed that I didn't have a crack.
Yeah, they had 5 seconds over Hobson, so he was trying to do it, but still beat Hobson to the line. I think that's what was going on there. But it's unfortunate. Amrit just got a bit more of a car over to the right that more than Trent anticipated. Trent went for a win or bin move. Unfortunately, he moved Amrit out of the way. But I mean, hey, give it a shot. You only live once, right?
Exactly. We'll leave those drivers in the green room for just a minute here. We'll bring them in a moment. There are the results, folks. Dennis Gaderick, the winner. 45 minutes, 21 seconds, .345. Magnificent racing across the course of 30 laps here this evening. Emmerich Candola second, Trent Lavis third, 2/10 the margin there, but for reasons already well documented, it would have been about that much anyway. But I mean, yeah, it was one of those situations where Lavis had to do it or die trying, so that was very nicely done. Brenton Hobson, John Merritt, Yanni Sorterio, then, of course, Peter Hunter, Lee Siddles, Paul Rogers, and Ross Ponting in the top 10 outside Aaron Cooper, Brendan Whittaker, Glenn Postlethwaite, then Jack Allisey. Paul Mansell rounded out the top 15. And then we go back to Warwick Sharp, Parry Anastakis, Josh Forer, Guy Leach, and Paul Wood make up the top 20. Of course, interesting to note, everyone from 16th down was at least a lap down.
Yeah.
21st for Maverick Benson, then Adam Lavis. Then we go back to Scott Nolan, Chris Whittaker, Dan Siciliano, Ben Miller, Bevan Moyes, then Rick Sibra, Richard Hunter, Michael Angus, Richard Mitchum, then Andrew Goldman, Daniel Birchnell, Jamie Mishkonig, fair dinkum, Shane Austin, Jamie Welch, Ryan Riddell, I get it wrong every week, Justin Schwercourt, Gary Cousins, and Jared Daly making up the order there. And interesting to note that it would appear as though we had 5 retirements there, everyone from 36th down, which isn't too bad given the opening couple of laps. Right, let's get some drivers in here to have a chat post-race. Most notably, Chris Kisby's in here. Yanni Sorterio and Trent Lavis and Adam Lavis are all in here as well. Trent, it was either pull the move off or die trying. Unfortunately, you weren't able to pull it off. And thankfully, you didn't die trying. But third in the end, are you happy with that?
Yeah, mate, it was a pretty good effort. I put too much fuel in the pit stop, which kind of screwed me around a bit.
Yep.
But yeah, got to have a crack, I suppose. And unfortunately, I did bump him, so I apologise to Emmerich there. But we had a really awesome side to side, door to door battle at the start there for about 3 or 4 corners. It was awesome. So I'm keen to watch the replay on that one, and love to race him again for sure.
Well, tune in here because you'll be able to watch the replay for as long as you like. We've got some action shots and replays of the start coming up. Yeah, Trent, 9 times out of 10, have a look at this carnage. There were 15 cars in the grass, in the wall, in the dirt. And take your pick. No wonder they threw the caution flag when they did as quickly as they did.
Oh,
Trent,
wow, okay.
and there was even one that we missed at the start as well. Trent, obviously, you were the man to beat. Last time we were here at Brands Hatch, this time around, Dennis has got the job done. That Audi's on rails at the moment. We'll get to Dennis very shortly. 9 times out of 10, that move at turn at the last corner there wouldn't have been a problem in the world, but Emmerich saw you coming and played a very defensive game, didn't he?
Yeah, he covered me pretty late, and I was going to show the nose, but I wasn't far enough down to the right, so I ended up just catching his rear left corner and sending him, unfortunately. But it would have been a bit of a rub, no matter what. It was pretty ambitious, but you got to have a crack, don't you?
Exactly right. But as I was going to say at the time, and I'll say now, Robbins Racing, and those incidents do happen. But again, the club mantra is if you are the cause of it, you redress, and you've done that. So well done. There won't be any extra penalties coming your way, I couldn't imagine. Nick's just jumped out of the room for the moment, so we'll get back to him very shortly. He's probably going to drag some of his teammates in for a post-race chat here. Let's go to the race winner. 3 wins on the trot for Dennis Gaderick, because obviously he won the last race of season 2 as well. There's something to be said for your form at the moment, Dennis. It's just incredible, my friend. Tonight it'll be the clean sweep, because we believe you clocked the fastest lap of the race as well. I haven't read otherwise. So pole, fastest lap, race win, clean race as well from what we read as in the closing stages there. You've had a good night out.
Absolutely, mate. I was really happy with myself tonight. Did a lot of practice, if that didn't show, really, to be fair with you. I think I've cut more laps this week than I have pretty much in any week sort of in the past. So, yeah, I was just sort of just challenging myself to see sort of where I could be. It was still a close quali, but I was I mean, not to be a little bit of a nutter, but I was really impressed with my pace sort of thing, and to see only sort of 3/10, I was a bit surprised, and especially with the mechanical advantage the Audi had over the Ferrari, that mate, it was definitely still close.
Indeed, it was, and I mean, this is a real message that you're sending to the rest of the competition at the moment. It's somewhat catch me if you can, because last season in the Ferrari, you started slow and finished very, very strong. I think we mentioned during the broadcast of the finale that you were somewhere in the vicinity of 50 points behind Brenton Hobson in the early stages of that series. Now, you're the championship leader and everyone's playing catch-up. Is that a positive sign going forward to the final 8 rounds, or are you a little bit worried about what's to come?
I'm definitely a bit worried. I just don't want to get complacent, so it's more sort of just down to myself to keep myself challenged about just keeping that number 1 spot, essentially. Especially at Okayama. I've driven heaps of laps there, just never in a GT3 car, and I do enjoy the track. And just looking at the tracks that are coming, I genuinely enjoy all of them. So, yeah, it's going to be a nice little challenge to keep the form going. I'm really excited for it. And, yeah, we'll see how we go.
Indeed. Now, have you had a chance to go and drive the Ferrari in the real world yet?
Not really, to be fair with you. It's a work in progress. I mean, obviously they're not just going to say hello, here you go, see you later. But yeah, at the moment it's tossing between sort of a vehicle or a drive day at Queensland Raceway in one, and sort of kind of spoilt for choice.
Well, if it's the Willowbank option, mate, we might even try and come out and say good day and watch you go around. 18 seconds to winning margin tonight. Emphatic victory, considering the first 10 minutes were under the safety car. You were very lucky, right place, right time at the front of the field while all the carnage happened behind you.
Well, that's sort of where I've also challenged myself. I always found qualifying to be my sort of weak point. Just obviously starting from, the front row always helps tremendously. You sort of avoid all that carnage. Even being sort of, around that 5th, 6th mark, it's really dangerous there. So, yeah, the further you can qualify up the front, the better for you.
You mentioned the word weak point. Your teammate threw you under the bus today. He said push-ups are actually your weak point.
Oh, I mean... Who said that?
Trent Lavis.
Oh, I mean, he's not wrong, but I mean, I'm trying. That's all I'm going to say. I'm trying. There's so many weak points.
I sympathise. I can relate with you. Push-ups and sit-ups are even worse. I am again. This is why I sit in a chair for a job. I am not a physical specimen. Now, a physically fit specimen, I should say. Now, Dennis, let's. I'm very, very happy that we're going to have Chris Whittaker to chat to in just a moment, because he's been to the stratosphere and back tonight. So we'll get to him in just a moment. Looking at the circuits to come, you mentioned Okayama, but then we go to Interlagos, which is unknown because it's a new track to the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We have not raced there this season. Zandvoort's another one. Then we go to Alton Park, which we have had racing on, but not in the GT3s. Then Monza, then Donington Park, which also hasn't had a GT3 race this year. Then Sonoma, which we've had experience on with stock cars, but not again in the GT3 series. So this calendar is a very diverse calendar, and the Audi seems to be handling what we've seen thus far. European-centric calendar, European car. of those circuits I've just mentioned there, we know you like Okayama, but what else? Is there anything that you're slightly worried about, Dennis?
Ooh, I am slightly worried about Oulton Park. That's never
Yep.
been a favourite of mine, even though I feel like that's racing sacrilege to a certain point, but still, regardless, each to their own. Monza as well. I've never done well at Monza. That's a really interesting one. I feel like I might struggle a little bit there. Donington Park will be really interesting. I've actually I've never raced there on iRacing, so that will be a fun one. But at the same time, I feel like my strong tracks will be Zandvoort and Zolder. I'm really looking forward to Zolder. It's my favourite track, full stop. So we'll see how we go.
I didn't mention Zolder.
Oh, well, it's because I know it's in the calendar.
No, Interlagos. So, no, Zolder. I didn't mention Zolder at all because it's not on my calendar.
Oh, is it not? Oh, in that case, I'm going to be a disappointed man.
Yes. Interlagos, Zandvoort, Oulton Park, Monza, Donington, Sonoma, and Bathurst. They're the tracks that follow Okayama.
Could we swap Bathurst for Zolder? Was that sort of asking for too much, or is that? Oh no, the last
2-hour
track.
race around Zolder. Yeah, right.
That would be a good one.
Well, who knows? Maybe I've been petitioning for Interlagos for months. We finally got it, so maybe you need to put a petition into this Gentleman Sim Racing Club.
I've been asking for Oran Park for the past 2 seasons, and that's
falling on deaf ears. Anyway, mate. Now, well done on all of that. I actually did, when Trent was throwing you under the bus today, I did actually say to him, because he originally messaged us with regards to some online events that you've been doing and some pace that you've had compared to the likes of Matt Campbell and Jackson Evans in the iRacing VRS GT series. Firstly, tell us about that. And secondly, is there fuel in the fire to go out and have a real world drive? Because I said to Trent, I said, you need to get me on board for a 300. You two team up.
Oh, I just feel like it would be too competitive, to be fair with you. I don't know how that would go. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, like the pace, like I said, this week has been awesome. I put in a whole ton of practice. I got the VRS, studied some data, did a whole bunch of stuff. And I was actually complaining in the middle of the week. My best was a 22 flat. And I was like, how are these guys doing 21 flats? I have no idea. Yep. And I was sort of complaining about where do I find the second. And it turns out I watched the VRS, the actual, like the data and stuff like that, just slightly changing turn one, changing the gears around in the middle of the turn, not so much the middle, but using using third instead of second, just keeping a higher gear. I found a second, and that's pretty much where my pace was tonight. Essentially, it was a really, really interesting and a really big learning experience for the following tracks. Essentially, yeah.
Indeed. Trent, I'll just come back to you for a moment. I'll come back to you, Dennis, if we get a chance at the end of the broadcast. We are already fast running out of time, though, as we usually do on a Monday night. What happened in the early stages after the restart, Trent? Because we saw you battling there for second, and then next time we caught you, which was only about half a minute, 3/4 of a minute later, you were down in fourth. Did you make a mistake there?
Yeah, mate, I almost dropped it coming out of the last left-hander there out of the back straight, which allowed Gleno and Hobbo to slither on past. That was on my own. Just balls it up, basically.
It happens. I'll come back to you boys soon as well. Chris Whitaker, I hesitate to ask, but how was your trip?
Yeah, I still got a nosebleed, mate. It just kept going up and up and up and up. It's the old Ferrari special. So yeah, apologise to Richard there. That's took him out of the race and managed to take myself out at the same time. So these things happen, unfortunately. I still 15 spots up on last week, so we obviously came dead ass last, but
we're moving forward.
Yeah, exactly right. So if I do that again next week, then I'll be pretty happy with the top 10 result there, and and then I only have to get another 10 spots after that. So baby steps,
exactly
mate.
Right.
Crawl before you walk.
100. Oh, don't we all know that? Let's point it out too. Richard Hunter ended up coming back to 29th after getting caught up in that incident. You made your way back to 24th. You were both a lap down, and looked like you had good pace until then.
It wasn't too bad until I ran out of talent. I made a change in qualifying to the front end, which made it a heap better, less skatey and stuff. But I didn't really get to have much of a run in traffic, and it was really, really susceptible to the aero wash. So it's all happened. I just got on the gas too soon as the pace was starting to pick up there, and just ran a bit wide. But no, I was pretty happy with the pace with what I had there. I mean, the Beamer, from what I was seeing looking through the rest of the times, is probably excuse Factory 101, but probably a little bit disadvantaged compared to a couple of the other cars. But I was pretty happy with how quali went. I was only it was a couple of laps, probably could have gone a bit quicker if not for hitting cars on the roof and stuff like that. But
Yes.
yeah, it might have got maybe 1 or 2 spots more. So yeah, pace wise, I was happy with where I was at. Just kicking myself for trying to land on the moon in one fell swoop.
Exactly. Good to have you back on the GT grid, though, mate. We have missed you. Very nice to see. There's the spin there, and there's the launch. There it is.
Master's calling.
Yeah, exactly. Although, as Nick highlighted during the call, it'll probably be safer than Earth at the moment with all the COVID rubbish going on. Chris, what are your thoughts on Okayama going forward?
I love Okayama, so yeah, really looking forward to that. Should suit the Beamer as well. We're sort of starting to get somewhere with set up on both of the cars as well. Brendan just ran that whole race and only had 15% tyre wear, so if he can work out how to drive the thing fast and retain that tyre wear, I think he'll be a bit of a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, my tyre wear is basically hard from last week as well. Nice tight track, it should suit the Beamer. So, and again, one I love. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Indeed. And what else is on the agenda, mate? Because obviously the stock cars on Friday nights, you weren't in the server there. I think you're focusing on the supercar, are you not?
We thought about supercars, but yeah, it's just a time thing and trying to switch between a stock car and a GT3 car. It's chalk and cheese. So we've sort of made the call that I'll jump in the odd race here and there in the stock cars, but for now, we're just going to sort of focus on the GT3s and see if we can do better than a bloody 25th finish. But these things happen. It'll be right. We'll get a clean race in there and aim for that top 15, top 10, where I think we can both probably end up. And we'll go from there.
And of course, if you are around on a Friday night and not driving, always feel free to come by and have a chat. We enjoy your company, mate. Hang there. We'll come back to you shortly. Chris Kisby, what were your views of the night that was?
Yeah, Zach. What an intro to Wings.
Yes.
I was in race control there. Yeah, as you know, yellow on the first lap, but nothing much else I could do. Amateurs, really nice racing in the amateurs tonight. I don't think I got too much to look at after race, as we had no race control. Congratulations to Johannes Koch, Adam Coughlin, Jay Ward. There's your top 3. Rounding out the 10, you had Jared Smith, Sean Rees, Stephen Roberts, Lee Williamson, Doug White, Kim Fora, Brad Doble, or Doble. And I actually had a really good race and had 12th spot, mate. So I'm quite happy with that, even though I was a few laps down. But from what I can gather, very clean racing. I do know I've got a couple of redresses to have a look at, but yeah. It sounds like you guys had the same first lap as the intro to Wings did.
Pretty much. Just no stalled cars, which is the benefit of a rolling start, I guess. But it happens, as they say. How many starters in that infield, Chris?
17 in this one.
Not too bad.
So, yeah, we had probably 2 that didn't finish. And a couple that must have black flagged themselves out at the end there. So, yeah, not too bad at all.
While I play ringmaster at the circus interviewing the other drivers here, if someone, Nick or Adam, can look up the Pro-Am and come back to me, the results there. I know Adam's crunching numbers for championship points at the moment, so he might have them handy. We'll get those results to you very shortly as well. Chris, thank you for that. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on as well. Let's go down to Warwick Sharp and Yanni Sorceria. Yanni, close but no cigar in the battle with John Merritt, only 0.6 of a second, but you've taken to the pro split like a duck to water, mate.
This week was a lot better than last. So I was up 18 spots from last week, which is a good effort. So happy with sixth place. A few little off track excursions that right at the end, Mr. Merritt got in front of me. But yeah, it was a good fun race. A lot of carnage as well, which always adds to it. But it was a good race all in all.
Indeed. I've got those Pro-Am results standing by. We'll get to them very shortly. Thank you, Adam Lavis. He'll get back to us with championship points before we go off air as well. and we'll go back to the AM split just to recap when we do championship points too. Yanni, obviously, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Some weeks are better than others. Some tracks suit you better than others. Some tracks suit the car better than others. It's going to be an interesting experiment in the pro split for the next 8 weeks. What are your thoughts going forward? And especially with reference to Okayama being the next stop.
There's some tracks there that scare me a little bit, but we'll have to put in some practice. I haven't done too much running in Okayama, not in a GT3 anyway. Having a in the F3s and obviously the Mazdas, but yeah, it should be interesting. Probably Interlagos one I'm looking forward to, and same with Monza. So it's a bit of a mixture, but it's good. It's a challenging series, this one. A lot of diverse tracks, a lot of different ones. So looking forward to it. It should be good.
And we're looking forward to seeing your progress as the season goes forward as well, mate. Just having a look at those results. Interesting to note, Nick, and I didn't pick this up at the time, Brenton Hobson. So he was only 4th in the end there. He fought his way back. He pitted early. He's normally a 1st, 2nd, 3rd guy just off the podium, but when you look at the margin being 5 seconds, I don't know if Hobbo will be too happy with the start of this series.
I have a funny feeling that they might have accidentally left their collie fuel in.
Yeah, okay, that'll do it.
Yeah, if you look at their pit stop times, they had some quite lengthy pit stops.
They did, yeah.
People, so 50-second plus pit stops. So where are we? Brenton Hobson, he did a 10-second pit stop, so maybe not. I don't know.
And of course, Glenn Postlethwaite fought his way back through to position number 13 in the end. Can you believe that? After his 50-second pit stop, the guy's a freak. Fantastic. Warwick Sharp's in the chat room as well. Warwick finished 16th. He was the first of the cars a lap down. He was just ahead of our mate, Parry Anastakis. Warwick, probably the driver of the night in terms of the top 20 there, mate. From 36th to 16th. Well done.
Yeah, no, it was good. You know, I obviously stuck with the Merc this season. I don't think there's too many of us out on the grid.
No, that's true.
I was behind Glenn, set for 14th. Crew chief obviously underfueled me a little because of all those yellows, which I've now gone in and fixed. That shouldn't happen again. But no, it's just keeping out of trouble. Jumping in this from the wings is a big change, and it's hard coming in halfway through quali. But no, it's just about keeping it clean and, you know, picking off the spots as it became available. So it was a good race.
Interesting to note as well, I've just gone through and crunched the numbers from what I'm reading. Most positions gained of anyone in the field goes to you tonight with 20. So that's a fairly solid performance. Just quickly get your comments on Intro to Wings though, mates. You couldn't ask for 2 more diverse races than what we had tonight, but you couldn't ask for more Carnage Pack starts than what we had with both races tonight either. What was your view of the start?
Look, I'm aiming to battle for that championship, and I was quite disappointed with it. I went to go around it. First place just stalled it on the grid, and I just clipped back tyres with him and spun around. So, yeah, if your car on pole gets stuck on the grid, you're going to get carnage behind it. But, yeah, it was a good race, tight track. There was a lot of good racing after that, but it was just a shame to get involved right off the line with the car stalled in front of me.
Yeah. If anything, Nico, Pop, I'll bring you back in at this point in time. I know you didn't see much of the first race, Intro to Wings, but there was a lot more incidents there in the initial phase after the restart than what we saw in the GT race. Once that restarted, things were fairly clean for the remaining 35 minutes until that incident last quarter between Trent and Amrit. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, the open wheelers, when they're close, wheel banging's a lot easier because of the way that they're designed. But 2, they've only got 20 minutes to get the job done, and they lost 5 of it under caution.
I also think part 3, there's a lot more experienced guys in this top split of GTs, and that's the whole idea of Intro to Wings, is to get those guys up to speed, because there's a lot of guys who are very green, new to the service, all that kind of stuff. So as iRacing do a thing called strength of field when you do an official race. So I dare say the strength of the field in this one will be quite high, whereas the Intro to Wings will be a bit middling and maybe to low kind of thing. So it does reflect in the racecraft as well.
Indeed, it does. Warwick, I'll come back to you for a moment, mate. Obviously, Intro to Wings running some of the shorter configurations. So not only have you got your head around going from a Pro Mazda to a GT car, but also learning the second half of a course. Are you enjoying that challenge as well?
Oh, look, when it's a F1 track, being that I've followed that for probably 30 years, I love it. So this track's one of the easier ones. I know it. I also remember doing the GT in season 1 here where I got taken out early. So it was actually good to get through this race. And it's just one of those tracks I really enjoy. There's, there's some nice fast corners in it. So I'm a big fan of the F1 tracks when they turn up.
Indeed, and we've got plenty of them this series.
Yeah, which is good. So I'm going to enjoy most of the racing, I think, and we'll just see what we can do with this Merc through the rest of them.
Indeed, and that's the thing too. Running the Merc, one of the rare few persevering with them. The balance of performance update threw a lot of people offside during last series. Why did you choose to stick with it?
I noticed at the end of the season they did a slight adjustment which did improve it. When we went back to Silverstone, because I hadn't run the other 2 cars, I took the Beamer and Fro for a run, but I was actually still quicker with the Merc. So without putting a lot of time in, I thought, well, I'll give it a go. If I manage to get top split, I'm up there. If I've not, I would have been quite happy to run Pro-Am. But I'm taking that view long term. I need to stick with one car, get to know it. If the seasons keep running, instead of chopping and changing, I'll just pick that one and keep with it.
Zig when everybody zags.
So, I mean, I like the Ferrari for the Enduros, but I'm getting to like the Merc. So, they might be frustrating at the moment, but that can all change.
It certainly can. Who knows when they're going to throw a balance of performance update out again. We'll wait and see. Nicely done, mate, tonight. Congratulations on being the hard charger of the field, up 20 spots, starting 36 into 16th. Nicely done. Adam Lavis will get championship points to us very shortly, but let's throw the conversation around in the meantime. It's been nice to juggle real world stuff with sim world stuff, and of course for those of us in the real world, some of us are heading to the Ipswich Kart Club this weekend for the Queensland Karting Championships, but I've already said to the boys that I'll be back for at least the supercar race on Friday night, maybe the stock car race as well. It's getting busier as we edge closer to the end of the year. Chris Whitaker, what's happening in your real world motorsport commitments? Anything in the near distant future?
At the moment, it's sort of just parked up a little bit, but yeah, we'll get back out there again soon. I was hoping to get out to Warwick this weekend for the historics, but yeah, we're starting the business off. I've got some different priorities at the moment financially. So
yep.
Yeah, once we're sort of get things ticking over there and a decent income stream, then you'll definitely get back out there and have a play and get the new donk back in Brendan's car after it decided to put a leg out of bed the other week, and
yes.
we can go out there and both have a bit of play.
And looking forward to seeing it when you do. Trent Lavis, I know we'll speak about this again next week, but the Skid Control boys have a Willowbank 300 title to defend, but that will be somewhat difficult given the vastly different field you'll be running in this year, and I know you're going to be viewing it from the opposite side of the fence to usual.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, the boys had another successful test day on the Friday, so looking forward to doing a bit of a debrief with them and getting some data, more data for the boys, and looking forward to the race. At the moment, we're looking in pretty good stead, so we'll be on it for sure.
Dennis, I compared your performance at the end of the race here just now, and you continue to see highlights for it throughout the course of the rest of the post-race show here on SimShed Broadcasting for the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, ladies and gentlemen. And a huge thanks to the great people that support the club. You can see them at the top of the screen there. We'll run through them again in just a moment. I compared your dominance of GT racing at the moment as far as the club is concerned to Glenn Postlethwaite's dominance of stock cars. He won 8 races, I think, in season 1 and then had a little bit less dominance in season 2, but you're getting more dominant as the season goes on. 7 of the last 12 races have you've managed to take the checkered flag in. Where are you sitting with regards to the rest of the season? Are you confident that you can continue this form? You don't want to get too complacent? How are you reading it?
Yeah, I just don't want to get too complacent. Mainly, I don't know, for me, I kind of like the challenge of. Don't get me wrong; it's always nice being the underdog and sort of trying to pip somebody that's in front of you. But it's also a lot harder to be out in front and just sort of watch behind you. So I try to just keep looking ahead. We'll see what the rest of the season throws at us, and I suppose just keep doing some practice, mate. Nothing wrong with practicing.
Not at all. Now, I'm just having a look here. I do believe if Adam Lavis can just let me know, I've got the spreadsheet open here, but I do believe that I'm right to run through GT3 Pro points while you work on the rest.
Yeah, Pro and Pro are done. Just finishing amateur.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, mate. Let's do that now, and then I'll come back to you boys in just a moment. 68 for Dennis Gatherick. It's an Audi 1-2 at the top of the order. Emmerich Candola sitting second on 50. So already 18 points in favour of Dennis Gatherick. Remember, he was somewhere in the vicinity of 45 to 50 points behind the competition after 2 rounds in the last series. That's why we're talking about his dominance at the moment. No doubt about that. Paul Mansell on 40 didn't have the greatest race tonight. Finished 15th after being second last week. John Merritt's jumped up into 4th place, 38 points, tied with Glenn Postlethwaite. Brenton Hobson on 35. 32 points for Guy Leach, Lee Siddles 32. So to sentence structure ruined me there. Guy Leach and Lee Siddles only on 32, and 36 for Trent. 26 for Trent Lavis make up 9th, with Yanni Sorteriou on 25, rounding up the top 10. Trent, that's a nice fight back after the disappointing start and finish in the first corner to last week's race.
Yeah, mate, it's good to put some points on the board and have a bit of a better driver mentality, I think, through the entire race than I had last week. So I was a bit cranky for some reason. I hadn't had me chill pill before I sat down and got stuck into it. So I should have had more spicy cola, I think.
Have the spicy cola before the race. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, Chris Whitaker can chime in here as well, because he was in a very similar situation to you, although later in the race. You got to the first quarter, you knew you were going to have to use your fast repair and get back out there and probably just fight for championship points. And you said, "Nah, stuff it, I'm done." Well, that's not exactly what you said, but I'm cleaning it up for the audience. However, Chris, in your standpoint, you sat in the cockpit, you got launched into the stratosphere, and you said, "Oh, okay, I'll take the fast repair and get back out there." So, Trent, obviously last week, your mentality, as you were saying, you probably weren't in the right headspace for that to happen when it did. Mentality goes a long way to determining performance here, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly the GT cars, when you start driving them at the level that the boys at the front are, you've really got to have your wits about you, because they'll bite you if you're about a millimetre offline. And if you're not that millimetre online, then you're a couple of tenths too slow. So they're really, really hit and miss whether you got the speed or you don't. And they're moving around all the time, even though they don't look like it on camera. So if you do step a foot wrong, you got to be in the right headspace and focusing pretty well on the task.
Oh, we saw it on a couple of occasions. All it took was an inch of grass and you were a passenger. So I'll get to the pro and the AM points for you in just a moment. Chris, what was going through your mind? Because Nick and I were hedging bets on whether you'd even bother coming in to have a chat to us tonight, because we know that you can get a little bit heated under the collar as well. But
trip to space doesn't help.
A trip to space didn't help. No, that's right. This is the thing, though. You were in a position where you knew that your race was done, but you decided to soldier on. So what was the reasoning?
Oh, at the end of the day, mate, I'd stuck a couple of hours of practice and stuff in, and a track like Brands Hatch, anything can happen. It's, I mean, you see it there. I dropped back to 40th or something like that, and and still end up 25th. So it's still points. It might be the difference between 15th and 14th at the end of the season or something like that. You never know. So, after last week where, I got caught up in someone else's incident, and I got a tap up the bum on the first lap, so I didn't even realise that I'd actually used my fast repair on the pit stop. So I ended up finishing the race in the pits still after getting caught up in the other incident. But I mean, that is what it is. You just got to get back out there and deal with it. And don't get me wrong, every now and then I've got a rage quit in me as well. But for the most part, I like to try to finish the race where I can.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're down in 33rd at the moment on 3 points. So it's a long way from
Mad.
Dennis at this point in time. But hey, there's 8 rounds to go. There's 2 drop rounds to take into consideration as well. There's a lot to play out as far as the next 8 weeks are concerned, and we're looking forward to bringing it all to you here on SimShed Broadcasting. It's interesting because, like, I mean, we go back to the whole Rage Quit situation. Nick, you're someone that's been in a similar situation where someone stuffed your race and you've got the, watts and away you go. But Chris just made a very intelligent point there that it could come back to being 1 or 2 points at the end of the championship between being higher or lower in the standings. And that's everything when you take into consideration the club's golden ticket system, the guys that automatically got welcomed into the prize split before season 3 even started, because, of course, that system, I dare say, given the interest in GT3 racing, will be carried over into the first series of next year.
Yeah, well, that's just one of those positions you don't want to be in. Is you just got to be out of that. You've got to be in that top 15 to get that golden ticket. So, there's no other way than just to be at the front most of the time. Unfortunately, I don't know if this Adam can fill me in here if this has got a two drop round system like most of the other ones, but
I'm 90% sure the community has got all seasons.
Okay. So you can have at least 2 bad races within the 10 race season, or at least have 2 away. So yeah, it just puts the pressure on, unfortunately. And then other than the top 15, you're gonna have to qualify your way back in.
I'll go out on a limb here for Dennis Gaderick. Now that he's had 2 excellent races, he can probably afford to have 3 and still be leading. That's just the dominance of him at the start of this season. 18 points is a good buffer to have, Dennis, given the point structure has changed a little bit. It's going to take a lot to lose that championship lead before round 4, and Okayama's a circuit that you love. So already the competition's a little bit worried about, hang on, he's going to feed us again.
Oh, don't do that, man. Don't jinx me. Don't do it.
I would never dare do it. No.
I can already see the 360 happening through one of the turns. It's coming. It's coming. No,
get a Ferrari to send you to orbit.
Yeah. I suppose. No, I mean we'll do some. We'll do some practice. We'll get Trent, and we'll do some things because I feel like it would be good to see.
I'm only good for the 10 minutes before the race, mate.
Oh, I know. It's just I suppose. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but it would be nice if skid control 1-2. It sounds good to me. I don't know about you.
Actually, just quickly, there's something that I drastically forgot to run over tonight. What do you guys all make? And I'll get everyone that drove here tonight. Lavis, Dennis, Whitaker, and also Adam Lavis as well. What do you guys make of the shorter practice, longer qualifying system? Are you in favour of that? Because that was implemented after last week's traffic fest at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya.
Yeah, with the amount of traffic that was here at this track, if it was a 20-minute qualifying session, it would have, there's no telling how qualifying sort of would have turned out, to be honest. But the 50 minutes gives you your time to, get a proper lap in. 50 minutes is plenty of time to get the right stuff happening. With the 50 minutes, it's a good amount. Does kind of take a little bit of the predictability out of it. Just being such a long session, everybody's able to essentially 50 minutes is a long time to get your one perfect lap in. Essentially, I mean, no lap's perfect, but still, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, another thing from the quali session is there's 2 things that probably really need to be maybe belted down on, and that is people just coming out of the pit straight onto the racing line without a relative, and also 30 seconds to go in the session, people are coming out of the pits onto, pretty much essentially the racing line. So yeah, that's just the 2 things essentially. Nothing to do with a 50-minute quali session, but
just on that, there is another option which I've proposed a couple times now.
Nick.
Just change the practice into qualifying, so it's practice and qualifying all in one. So there is that option where it's just one long qualifying session.
Yeah, I mean that would
definitely take it out over an hour. Yeah. Sorry, Dennis, you go.
Oh no, you're right. I was going to say that. I mean, don't get me wrong. That would probably work. It would give people a lot more time to put, a solid lap in. But yeah, 50 minutes is, to me at least, is plenty of enough time. Sort of the only thing that I find with that longer session is you take that sort of predictability out of it. Like for example,
Yeah.
who I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the top runners. I can't remember the name, but yeah, it took them pretty solid, 25 minutes to get pretty much where they, were supposed to be. So if it was a 20-minute session, they wouldn't have qualified there. And Lord knows if there was only 20 minutes, to qualify, the track would have been a lot more busier and stuff like that. And yeah, so there's two ways to look at it. If we're looking to give everybody a more fairer go, then yeah, the longer qualifying sessions are the way to go.
Flip side. I was just going to say, flip side, just like we do in the stock cars, 2 laps, 10 minutes by yourself. Best of luck.
Yeah, well, this is true too. Personally, from a broadcast standpoint, and this is just me being biased, I guess, I love the all-in, the intensity of all-in qualifying, because you're dealing with all the regular factors that you're used to in the real-world thing, so it just adds that little realism effect to it. I want to get the thoughts, though, of Trent and Chris and Adam as well, so we'll start with you, Trent.
Sorry, mate, I missed the question. Wasn't paying attention.
Oh, thanks. Qualifying. Were you in favour of the longer qualifying session, shorter practice?
Yes, yeah, that's a better way to do it. I think I had a bit of time in the middle there to be able to stop and sort of collect my thoughts and have another swing at it at the end there. I think that's a good way of doing it, and also gives a chance too for the traffic to sort of calm down a little bit, where people have a bit of a break. And you get a bit of clear track there, so it gives a bit of opportunity to get your clean lap in and not get too badly balked. It's quite tricky here when you're in the pits and you can't see the deltas of people coming flying down the straight, and you pop out right in the middle of turn one, which is tricky enough as it is, let alone having a car park there. So I think everyone did pretty well, to be honest.
And Chris Whitaker, I mean, along with Trent and also a few other people that can relate to what we're about to say here, you know what it's like to have a 15-minute all-in qualifying session on a busy track, or even 20 minutes, maybe even 30. It does get a little bit hairy out there at times, but 50 minutes gives you a little bit of time to regroup, recompose, and go and have a second crack. Did you enjoy it tonight?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's definitely better than having a 20-minute session with 50 people on the track and no opportunity whatsoever to get any track space. But I do think that there's a few guys out there who really need a fairly serious reality check on how to qualify a car and how to keep out of people's way after you've had a half a spin and you've ruined your own lap, or landing on your lid, or just simple, basic, common sense stuff that is probably missing from a few of them, but they'll work it out in due course. But I mean, the other option is exactly as Nick said. Even if it's not a 2-lap solo quali, a 10-lap solo quali, it's still gonna bring out the cream's still going to rise to the top. It's still going to throw a little bit of an element of doubt, or throw a bit of a spanner in the works, because the 50 minutes, it's good in that you get more opportunities to actually get your lap down, but obviously the downside is that it does take away that predictability, as Dennis was saying before. So I don't know, either that or leave it 50 minutes and split the times in half. Go the first 20 minutes of qualifying rather for the bottom half of the practice, and the top half of practice get the second 20 minutes or something that. So
top 50, bottom 50. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. And just sort of split it up a bit, and then takes the numbers off the track and reduces that risk of having someone parked up on the turn one apex trying to do the right thing, but making it worse than what it would have been if they'd have just driven off. So but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any right answer. There's just a couple of different options that could possibly be considered.
And that's why we love this debrief on a Monday night, because we always put ideas in the head of the committee, and they can go and have their meeting on Tuesday night and let us know what they come back with. But Chris just used 2 words there that aren't often commonly associated with motorsport: common sense. Lovely. We're pleading for sanity, and we're not likely to find it any time soon. No, I don't mean that in all sincerity. We like to have a joke occasionally, but it's an interesting one. There's no doubt about that. Adam Lavis, what did you think of the 50-minute all-in?
Given the size of the field, it's kind of the better option at the moment, because even with the 50-minute, I come out of the pits and you let one person pass, and then you just have a freight train and you wouldn't even really get a chance to even get your warm-up lap in because you're too busy letting everyone else past because there was no gaps. So, yeah, I think like it's one of those things. Like with the size of the field, we kind of needed time just to sort of find that one moment to get yourself at least a banker in, so then you can at least try to find yourself a proper gap to have a real hot go later on.
Of course, we say that on the back of the reason for the question about the longer session, because there was a 40-car field in the XLs out at QR on Saturday, all in for a 15-minute qualifying session. I'm really glad that I wasn't involved in that traffic jam, let me tell you. Fantastic racing as usual in the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. There's the Oculair aerial shots showing and telling the story of the night that was, or the day in this case, at Brands Hatch in the United Kingdom. The European swing is done for the moment. We head off for a round in Asia and a round in South America in the weeks to come. But one thing is clear, and that is that Dennis Gaderick is the man to beat at this point in time. 2 wins from 2 starts and one front row start, 1 pole position to go with that. Of course, last week did the job from, I think it was 4th on the grid last week. So that's very nicely done from Dennis at this point. But already 2 race wins, 2 fastest laps, 2 races with 1 race with no incident points. So he is racking up the stats in season 3. Nick, let's wrap this thing up. I'll get to the points of Pro-Am and Am in just a moment. But firstly, your nominations for Driver of the Night.
He's left here now. He was in here before. Warwick Sharp, 20 positions. It's been quiet all night in the GT3s. He must have listened to my keys to the race and kept out of trouble. Did a smart pit stop. Pushed when he had to push. Let people pass if they were quicker than him, and he still made up position. So top job to Warwick Sharp.
Lee Siddles was the only other car in the field, along with Dennis, to have a clean race, 0 incidents. So well done to Lee Siddles. We should point that out as well. As far as the first race of the night was concerned, Intro to Wings, hard to look past Joe Baldwin. Geez, he was impressive. He cleaned up after everyone else cleaned out.
Yeah, well, look, once again, keys to the race is just get to the front. Best way to win, have the fastest car and get to the front. A la like Dennis before. Just get to the front and just stay there. Don't make a mistake. There's less pressure when you're on at the front as well. So if you clear out. So, yeah, get to the front, drive away from everybody.
And brought him out with the one lap qualifying too, Nick.
Yeah, that's my mistake. But, they're race car drivers at the end of the day, so they can adapt.
That's exactly right. 100%.
That's my way of saying stiff.
Nothing wrong with that. The 10-minute sole qualifying was, the line qualifying system worked for those cars on that short circuit. There's no doubt about that. And looking forward to more of the same next Monday night for you as far as the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club is concerned. And as I said to Joe when he checked in with us after the race in Intro to Wings, he was basically the big beneficiary of the stalled car on the grid and everyone else having nowhere to go. So sometimes you just need a little bit of luck to fall into your lap along the way. And I know Trent Lavis has said that in the past here as well. Let's go to the Pro-Am split, the points there at the end of the second round. Cal Crowther on 54 points, Curtis Porter 49 points, Jaden Schmidt 49 points, Matthew O'Grady 48 points, and Nathaniel Webber 42 points. So it's nice and tight there at the moment. Have a look at this. There are 6 cars within 16 points of one another at the top of the table, and in the top split, the leader is out by 18 points. So Pro-Am's looking far more close and fair at this point in time. That was Joyce Sand in 6th spot. James Wilkins 7th on 35. David Riddell 32 in 8th position. Scott Harris 9th on 31 points. And Ken Munro on 28.5, rounding out the top 10 at the moment. BMW, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Audi all in that top 10 at the moment, but it is BMW leading the way. That comes on the back of this round. Results for them, Pro-Am tonight. saw Cal Crowther win from Matthew O'Grady, Curtis Porter, Doysan, and David Riddell. Thomas Martin, Nathaniel Weber, Ken Munro, Michael Martin, and Curtis Williams made up the top 10 there. No cautions in that race. 32 laps completed. 3 lead changes along the way, but some great racing had there as per usual. The AM split, and I'll get to the points for them in just a moment. Johannes Koch, as Chris said a short while ago, they're getting the job done from Adam Coughlin. 10 seconds the margin in the end. In fact, the winning margin in the other race, the Pro-Am, was just 5. So it is close on all fronts at the moment, margins and points. And the AM split, a little bit of a one-sided affair for Johannes Koch. Adam Coughlin, Jay Waugh, Jared Smith, Sean Rees, Stephen Robertson, Lee Williamson, Doug White, Kim Forer, and Brad Dobble making up the top 10. Chris Kisby was 12th, as he correctly pointed out there a short while ago. Interesting to note in the AM split, just the top 6 finishing on the lead lap. They're big margins right throughout the field. And in the Pro-Am split, the field of 38, if you don't mind, how good's that? Everyone down to 15th was on the lead lap. As far as the split points are concerned for AM, let's have a look at them very quickly. Johannes Koch on 56 points, but he's got a red line next to his name there. Adam Lavis, you might be able to explain what that is for me?
In the AM splits?
In the AM split, yep, he's highlighted in red.
The 3 of them that are highlighted red, with a little greater sound next to them, that's because they're meant to be in Pro-Am.
Oh, okay, so they're just playing the big fish, small pond game at the moment. Very good. 56 for Johannes Koch, 47 for Adam Coughlin, 42 for Lee Williamson, 38 for Sean Rees and Daniel Ackland, 5th on 33 points. Doug White, 32. Eric Thorpe, 28. So too Kim Forer and Brad Dobble, with Jay Waugh and Simon Ferris Brad Dobble as well on 28. So Jay Waugh and Simon Ferris on 25 points, rounding out the top 10. There are 11 inside the 10 at the moment based on points. And that's a 9-point margin first to second there. Top 3 split by 14 points. And the top 10 by 31. Reminding you, of course, Dennis Gaderick out by 18 points here after a second win from as many starts. And the top 10 separated by 43 points after 2 rounds. Looking ahead as far as the Gentleman Sim Racing Club is concerned, huge thanks to these gentlemen here that have come into shoot the breeze with us, if I can use that expression, at this time of the night, post-race round 2 of the GT3 series. It'll be back next Monday night. But there are a lot of races to bring you between now and then, and a couple of programming notes as well. So let's get to that. Wednesday night, Adam Lavis back in the director's chair. So it'll be on Maverick Twitch and also the Gentleman Sim Racing Club Incorporated broadcast page. So like that on Facebook if you haven't already done so. 7:30 Eastern time. So we're streamlined in our start broadcast times this season, which is really good stuff. 7:30 Eastern time. We will be heading to the Okayama International Circuit, actually, for Hump Day Wednesday. The Pilot Series GT4 TCR, that'll be first up. And then, of course, the second race of the night there will be a cracker. Porsche GT3s, Glenn Postlethwaite, Jeff Connell, set to resume their duel. And we look forward to bringing that to you for Racecraft a little bit later on this week. So that'll be around 8:30, that race getting underway. And, of course, it flows on from there into Friday night. Road America, the venue. Production cars into stock cars into supercars. Now, I'll be out of the chair for the first portion of the evening due to commitments at the Ipswich Kart Club with the Queensland Karting Championships, which you'll be able to listen to on West Bremer Sport, but I'll tell you more about that on Wednesday night. But the broadcast will get underway from 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We will then continue all the way through until about 11 o'clock because we'll have the production cars first up for half an hour, then the stock cars getting underway, hopefully on time this week instead of early. That'll be about 10 past 8. And then, of course, we will get stuck into the supercars at around 9:30 p.m. So looking forward to that immensely. And then next Monday night, and by gee, this is going to be fun, isn't it? 6:30 Eastern time for Queensland, 7:30 for the rest of the East Coast. So that makes it 7 o'clock in South Australia, 6 o'clock in Darwin. And good old Western Australia will be tuning in at 4:30 in the afternoon. Jeez. So it won't be Monday night motorsport. It'll be Monday afternoon motorsport. Daylight saving, of course, kicking in on Sunday. And don't get me started on that. It's too late in the night. That means, of course, some varied times there. But the synchronisation remains with Sydney and Melbourne. It'll be 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And it'll be round 3 of Intro to Wings and also the GT3 series from Okayama. Looking forward to that immensely. So, again, 7:30 the times, but just check that depending upon your time zone changes this weekend. Nick, final thoughts?
You know my saying, bring it on. Let's
Looking
go.
forward.
Next one.
Yeah, exactly right. Looking forward to it immensely. Good to catch up with you on Saturday. First time we've been able to do that in person. Good to catch up with
Yes,
everyone
sir.
tonight. Paul Nichols, looking forward to having him back on deck on Wednesday night. Get rid of the head cold, come back nice and firing on Wednesday night. Looking forward to what should be some cracking GT4, TCR, and GT3 Porsche racing right here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, with huge thanks to Central Coast Subaru, LJ Hooker, Gaindale Racecraft, Flash Graphics, Oculair, and Simple Sim Computers. So it was a first-up win for Joe Baldwin in Intro to Wings as far as this series is concerned. Michael Hammond didn't have a great night out, but he'll be looking to bounce back next week. And, of course, Janice Gaddert getting the job done in the GT3 challenge here tonight, of course, in the Audi 2 from 2 after being so loyal to Ferrari's traded brands, and it's serving him well so far. He is the man to beat. Will he be able to continue his form when we head to Okayama next Monday night, the international circuit, the first and only Asian round of this championship in this season? You'll have to join us to find out. In the meantime, thanks so much for your company. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. On behalf of Nico Pop and the entire Gentleman Sim Racing Club and SimShed Broadcasting teams from here, we say a very good night to you. And don't forget, of course, the SimShed broadcasts continue Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you'll be back with us on Friday night. Until then, I'm Zach Cabe, and have a great evening, everybody. From all of us here, it's bye for now.